Okay, let's get this thing going. Hey, y'all. What is good, y'all? What is good? It is Mikey T, the movie star. Pretty interesting episode of $1 Million Worth of Game podcast that just concluded over on Gilly the Kid and Wallow's YouTube channel, $1 Million Worth of Game. Probably one of the most universal podcasts of the moment. You know, I talk to different people out there in whatever cities I go to, and they all seem to really know about $1 million worth of game. Most of hip hop fans really do know about millions of dollars worth of game. And I really commend Gilly on how far he has taken the series with his cousin Wallow. But yeah, what an episode tonight. What an episode tonight where some interesting information was revealed. A lot of people have probably been hearing about Suge Knight doing an interview on the $1 Million Worth of Game channel. This is actually Gilly and Wallow's first interview with a celebrity that is actually locked up, I want to say. Wallow takes a lot of time during the show to do the stories from the cell. But this is actually the first time that they've had somebody call in from the penitentiary. It's pretty crazy. Dead Man Walking in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in. Definitely had a great Christmas. Looking forward to New Year's. That's more of a popping bottles type of time, going out, celebrating type of thing. You know what I'm saying? King J Rock, salute my dude, but I don't think you knew this back then. Honestly, I don't think you knew this back then as to the angle that I'm talking about today. Now, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg really had a iconic relationship. They had a partnership that really fused. You know what I mean? It was like a gangster version of Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff. It was like they were the new hip hop combination, but we really didn't get to see them paired together for long. It was almost sort of like how Dr. Dre has worked with several of his other artists, where he would only work with them on their first album. That is the angle that I'm taking today. And we had a little bit of information revealed in Gilly's interview with Suge as to why there was friction between Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Now, a lot of hip hop viewers probably noticed back in the day, why are Snoop and Dre not working together so frequently? There was a number of years where they actually did not work together. So that is the angle that I'm taking a look at today, because me watching on as a fan back then, I was sort of wondering why Snoop and Dr. Dre weren't more connected. Obviously, we know that Snoop stayed with Death Row a little bit longer than Dr. Dre. Snoop was held back on Death Row for a little bit longer than Dre. But Snoop ultimately ended up leaving and going with Master P, No Limit. He went with Master P and No Limit rather than rekindling his relationship with Dr. Dre. And a lot of my people back in the day, a lot of my friends, we all wondered, why is Dr. Dre not reteaming with Snoop Dogg? Now, we know Dr. Dre had done one thing that we all really weren't that interested in after he parted ways with Death Row. That joint where he was like in a tuxedo and shit like that. We weren't really feeling that. So Dre knew he needed to go back and find his next big artist. Like, they all came out as NWA. They put the focal point on Eazy-E. The Game came back. He put the focal point on Snoop Dogg when they did Death Row. Dr. Dre came back, put the focal point on Snoop Dogg. Dr. Dre came back, put the focal point on 50 Cent. Dr. Dre came back and put the focal point on The Game. And then Kendrick Lamar. This is the angle that I'm actually touching on tonight, you guys. And we got to see a little bit more as to why there's actually friction between these two guys. It's pretty crazy. Dre was too busy with M. Man, Theodore, But you had to wonder as a fan back then. You had to wonder as a fan back then, why aren't Dre and Snoop Dogg getting back together? And we got some of those answers tonight, you guys. And honestly, I think 50 Cent is going to have to address this in his show, because just like Suge Knight has said before, when Pac passed, he said Jimmy Iovine came to him and said, this is going to make Death Row a cash cow. When Snoop Dogg got hit up with that whole situation, the investigation, Interscope came to Suge Knight and said, Suge, listen, Suge, Snoop is going to lose this case. Snoop is going to lose this case, Suge. You can't put all the chips on Snoop Dogg, even though Suge only had the one record, the 187 on a 187 deep cover, which was for a soundtrack. Suge was doing his soundtrack shit. That's how he initially locked in with Pac, from my understanding, on the All Eyes on Me movie. But so he knew he had a winner, though. He knew he had a winner. Theodore, I'm just touching on it, man. Gilly, I call Gilly the king of media because he just exposed something major to the industry. And I think 50 Cent is going to have to use this concept. I think 50 Cent is going to have to use this concept when he does the Snoop Dogg show. Now, it's going to be interesting because the Snoop Dogg series is probably going to be one 10-episode complete season, sort of like the O.J. Simpson trial, but it's going to be the Snoop Dogg trial. You see what I'm saying? You see the parallel I'm drawing there? But yeah, very interesting conversation that Suge had with Gilly and Wallow tonight, because we've seen stuff earlier, but now $1 Million Worth of Game, the hottest new podcast out, helped us bridge a couple more concepts, you guys. They helped us bridge the next piece of the puzzle, because Death Row was put on the line. Suge put all of his chips down to protect Snoop Dogg. And Jimmy Iovine, Interscope, they said, listen, you're putting Death Row on the line. We don't think you should. We don't really think you should, because there's probably a more major % chance that Snoop Dogg was going to lose the trial. Suge actually went into some detail about the pistols that were used, the bullets, the fact that some 380s and 9mm will fit inside of each other's weapons, which is how they ultimately proved the innocence of Snoop Dogg. We'll have to see all of that detailed in the new show, which will be interesting. I'm going to love to see that detailed in the new show. But another point that is very interesting to me is that Suge Knight said that Dr. Dre was going to be called to testify as a witness in good faith. Like sometime if you ever have gotten charged with something and one of your friends was there, and like you tell your lawyer, like, listen, that was actually my friend's shit. Then your lawyer's like, well, listen, if you can get your friend to write a letter and I can present it to the judge and letting him know that your friend was the one actually in possession of the alcohol since he was 21 or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And then your friend's like, whoa, I'm not writing no type of letter for you to give to your lawyer, to give to the police. Whoa, I don't want nothing to do. It's kind of a similar situation to that, you guys, because apparently from what Suge Knight is saying, this is what Suge Knight is saying as well. He did say the same thing about Jimmy Iovine talking about Tupac. So this is what Suge is saying. He's saying Dr. Dre didn't want to show up as a character witness for Snoop Dogg, just to come to court and be like, listen, Snoop Dogg is a good dude. Snoop Dogg is really based in the studio. Snoop Dogg has changed his life around, this, that, and the third. Allegedly, they wanted Dr. Dre to come to the courthouse and say this shit. Now, guys, speaking as someone, like someone in the industry, like a Dr. Dre back in the day after he was coming up with the world-class Wrecking Crew, I consider myself in that element of my career right now. You know what I mean? But Dr. Dre was probably thinking about, you know what, man, I'm getting a little bit of money off of the industry. You know what I mean? I'm getting some industry money. I don't want these people to look into my life. I don't want these people to know who I am. I see him and Snoop Dogg were about to become the poster boys. As I said, they become the new Jazzy Jeff and Will Smith, except they had a little bit of a gangster edge. You know what I'm saying? They're even like Puff and Big, but it's a gangster edge. You know what I mean? Look at them with the chucks and the khakis and the plaid. You know what I'm saying? Look at them. You know what I'm saying? Those guys were really the embodiment of what everybody wanted to be. They could have their own Halloween costume. Dr. Dre was about to become the face of hip hop. I just don't think he really understood it at that point, which is why he was doing all the deals with Eazy-E, where, you know, as he was getting, as they said in the movie, oh, if Dr. Dre, he'll get a bonus and get a pool put in his backyard. You know what I mean? It comes with really not understanding the business, not understanding your worth. You know, I could really sympathize with some artists out there who are like that at the very, very beginning of their career. Dr. Dre just blew up. You know what I mean? He blew up to become the biggest thing. I mean, for crying out loud, developing a headphone and going on to sell it for $3 billion. You know what I mean? There was just something more to Dr. Dre, putting on one of the most successful tours, putting out countless of the most successful artists. But there was a part of me as a fan, as I'm sure all of you, we're probably wondering what's going on with Dre and Snoop. What's going on with Dre and Snoop? Why are these guys not together? I thought they was like literally tight as hell. Like, yo, anybody in the chat, like, let me know if you were feeling the same way. I looked at them as like friends, like two of the greatest friends. But, you know, upon seeing the movie, seeing how Snoop Dogg was brought in, you know what I mean? Snoop Dogg was already early to mid 20s by the time he seemed to have met Dr. Dre. He seemed to have met Dr. Dre by passing off a demo. You know what I mean? He seemed to have met Dr. Dre by passing off a demo and Dre hearing the stuff and saying, yo, this guy has a good voice. You know what I mean? Very similar story to Eminem, you know, because the story was that Eminem, Dre didn't even know what race Eminem was at that point. He just heard the voice, you know, from what I've read in different magazines and books and shit like that over the time. That's all I'm coming on here and reciting, you guys. You know what I'm saying? Shit that I've actually read, stuff that I've actually heard, you know, opinions that I actually have about the game. You know what I'm saying? But tonight, hearing this on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, it opens up a whole new light to what I'm seeing, y'all. You know what I mean? Like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, they had a little bit more of an issue, a little bit of a trust, I think, was broken, you know, when Dre apparently didn't take the stand. I think they should actually take a look at that in the show that 50 Cent is apparently developing about Snoop Dogg. 50's developing so many shows, you guys. I really hope this one, it's accurate. I really hope it's accurate that 50 is developing a show about Snoop Dogg right now. Steve Drive just tuning in. Well, Suge Knight actually said some pretty interesting shit about Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. And Suge says that he's not throwing shots at Snoop anymore at this point of his career, but he let out a truth. He let out a truth that during Snoop Dogg's trial, you know, the infamous trial where Suge Knight had to put death row on the line. You know what I mean? Suge Knight had to put up allegedly $5 million. He had to apparently put up $5 million to, you know, get Snoop Dogg exonerated, to get Snoop Dogg cleared of all the charges, to prove his innocence, so Snoop would be able to come out here and be the musician that we see him as today, probably worth about $500 million. So an interesting point that I don't think we've ever really heard about this trial, or at least I haven't heard about this trial, was that Dr. Dre, the collaborator of Snoop, was going to be called as a witness. Now, like, you know, a witness in good faith, he was going to be called up to talk about how good Snoop Dogg was doing, how much Snoop Dogg has changed his life around, how important Snoop Dogg was to the music industry, I would imagine. You know, that's what I imagine. But who would have been able to predict that Snoop Dogg would be the Billboard poster child of hip hop and everything else? Film, soda, food, Corona, beer. You know what I'm saying? I don't think even Dr. Dre could have predicted back then at this point in time that they were going to become what they had. You know, they did do the deep cover record. You know what I mean? They were on their way. But even Eazy-E, you guys, this is something I say about Eazy-E, y'all. Eazy-E didn't know what he had in his label. Eazy-E didn't know that he had two future billionaires under him with Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. Eazy-E looked at his success as what we call in the streets, in the hood, in the projects, a lick. You know, he thought, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, you guys, Eazy-E thought that he hit a lick by being successful in the music industry. And that's why I feel like they downplayed all the other guys, and why people like Jerry Heller were saying things like, oh, Ice Cube will never be you. Yeah, he's probably not going to be Eazy-E, but he became something that's, you know, a lot bigger in a whole different platform than Easy. But I'm going to bring in my partner, my guy, Rosewood. He's just about to tap in with me right now. So, but we're going to keep this conversation going because I'm eager to hear what Rosewood has to say about this. Rosewood, what's poppin', G's?
Mikey T, what up, my J? Salute everybody in the chat, man. Hope y'all having a wonderful life right about now. Thank y'all for tuning in with me and my J.
And man, you know, everybody, we appreciate everybody's prayers, everybody's wishes, because Razor is home. Major salute to the bro Razor. He's
Honorable.
home. Rosewood, could you just touch on that for a little second, man? I'm sure a lot of people in the chat have been, you know, happy to hear that Razor's home.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Yo, free all the men, man. And my brother, he home, but he's still fighting. You know, he's still fighting this case, you know, so it ain't over. But it's a blessing for him to be able to come out here, you know, rumble from the outside instead of being in there. You know, it's just a blessing, you know. So at working, you know, about to put out some real good music. I was really just waiting on him to come home so we could figure the, you know, music out, you know. And basically, you know, we working, man, going back to what we was already doing and continue to grind. So shout out my brother Razor, man. Y'all be hearing the music from OBH Razor soon, man. You know, it's honorable earth.
That's interesting you say that because, you know, tonight on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, Suge Knight actually touched on his incarceration and his process of bail, stating that they put $25 million of bail on him, which has only been seen twice in American history.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they eventually lowered the bail, they wouldn't even let him out once he put the money together. You know, we've seen that in a couple other situations as well. Rosewood, Bobby Shmurda being one.
Yeah, and it's Suge Knight's his reputation. That's all that was. It was his reputation, and I do believe it was just people that didn't like Suge and looked at it as an opportunity to get paid back. You know, so it was a lot of things. Suge was a bully for a long time. He wielded a lot of power for a long time. Made people, broke people, and some of the people, you know, that might not like them for whatever he did to them, you know, they might be in position of power now, you know. So I look at that almost like they was trying to get paid back, you know, just for him being him, you know, back during the Death Row days.
Right, exactly, Rosewood, because it's not like this is his first time going in the courts.
Facts.
You know, if this was his first case, it would be a different situation. But he actually was going through a whole nother case with Cat Williams when he had got involved with this whole situation in California during the Straight Outta Compton shooting, movie shooting.
Yep.
So there was actually two different cases going on with his situation. So that plays a major factor as well, you know, when it comes to them giving you a bail, you know, them actually letting you out. But kind of crazy. So 25 million, that means 2.5 million, Rosewood.
Yeah, they knew they had they knew they I don't know if it was a 10% on that, but they basically knew he didn't have the money to pay to get out. They set it so high that they knew he didn't have that to get out. You know, it's like a smack in the face, basically. No.
Yeah, man. So tonight, we're going to take a look at this whole situation because Suge Knight dropped some bombs on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, man.
Okay.
But one of the most interesting things he talked about was Snoop Dogg's infamous trial, Rosewood.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about the infamous trial of Snoop Dogg. The trial that could have took Snoop Dogg away from us all.
Yep. Murder was the case. The murder trial. That's the first time I seen an artist go on trial for murder. First time I see an artist go on trial for murder, and then also make an album and a music video about it. Not exactly about that is his actual case, but making it like murder was the case, and it was basically based on him. It was genius. It was genius. I don't know who came up with murder was the case, but that was genius though.
Well, man, Suge Knight has been saying it for a while. His marketing, his strategy, at first they wanted to call it Death Row, DEF Row, not Death Row, Death Row. He changed it. He said, no, man, if we're going to do this, we're not doing it like Def Jam. We're going to do it like the real deal. Listen, I want everybody to share this video. Suge Knight went to one of his boys who just got out. He had him draw up the logo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had him draw up the logo. Suge Knight actually had a lot of business savvy when it came to this. He's the one. Suge Knight went to Jimmy Iovine. He went to Interscope, and he said, listen, Snoop Dogg is in a tight situation. I need $5 million. I need $5 million for his case.
Mm-hmm.
We need to make sure he's innocent. They said, yo, listen, Suge, 75%, the majority percent chances he's gonna be guilty, man. Suge. And then Suge was like, listen, I gotta put it on the line for Snoop Dogg. It's his life that's on the line. And so Suge Knight apparently put his company up. If they would have flopped in this trial and not been able to recoup, because I mean, Snoop, $5 million on the trial just before you came in, Rosewood. I said Snoop Dogg is probably worth $500 million. You know what I mean? He's probably, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But see, that's the thing. Snoop Dogg was really like the biggest rap artist at the time. Yes, Dr. Dre, is there, but we know Dr. Dre as the producer, and you're also looking at Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg as a tandem. Not as a group, but as almost like a rapper and a DJ.
Right.
Kind
of. So let me ask you, Rosewood, because this is something we're definitely tapping in on. Dr. Dre first brings us Eazy-E, right? Now, Dr. Dre is bringing us Snoop Dogg. How much of an advancement to you as a fan is that? Because I don't really know if I need to go in specifics and explain, but Snoop Dogg's beat selection, the beat changed the G-Funk. Snoop Dogg's articulation was better than Eazy's. His sound of his voice, it was a little bit smoother, whereas Eazy might be a little squeaky. I don't know. What was your thoughts as a fan? As Dre, was he moving up? Was he moving on up, as they say?
Yeah, because I'm gonna say it like this. He moved up because you have in '92, you have Cube going solo and his album and his project going platinum. So now Dre is really next up, and he comes in. He brings Snoop Dogg, which I think Warren G and Snoop Dogg was in the group together. Him and Nate Dogg. That was like that's where the G-Funk sound. Yeah, that's where the G-Funk sound comes from. And then, Dre got a wind of it. Oh, boom, freestyle for me. He gets put on. So definitely is the level up because he came with a whole new sound, dropped the multi-platinum album, and he brought you a fresh new artist that everybody, the whole world was on to. When Doggy Style came out, What's My Name and all that dropped, Snoop was the biggest artist. The West Coast, the West Coast really stepping into the market. The East Coast was dominating everything. When that happened, everybody wanted to be on the West Coast. Even if you was on the East Coast, that whole vibe, like you said earlier, I heard you talk about the look, the Chucks, the Dickies, the way they wear their style and stuff, even the braids. it just became a nation fad, you know.
I mean, it was even you could even see it when they had just first come out with this record, Deep Cover. You know, when they had first come out with Deep Cover, and that's what Suge Knight was going and betting his chips on, even though
Yeah,
that's all he knew. You
yeah.
know, that's all he knew. But they told him at Interscope, they were like, Suge, listen, this isn't a gamble that you really want to take. You know, but Suge kind of broke it down how he went about it, getting the best lawyers, breaking
Mm-hmm.
down the like the way that they were going to go about the case. And Rosewood, they're saying that 50 Cent, is potentially going to be making a show about this. I think it's
About
going to be about
the
Snoop Dogg,
trial,
about the trial that you watched as a fan.
I definitely watched that on MTV every day.
A
I
lot of
watched the
fans
trial.
watched Shine. A lot of fans watched Shine going through it in 2000.
I watched his trial too. I watched
So
that was on TV.
so 50 Cent, I think I think 50 Cent doing a show about this would kind of be similar to the OJ show, Rosewood. I don't know if you saw
That's
that.
what it, boom, we thinking on the same page right there. Cause I was just about to say, like, if he does that, is it going it got I'm thinking it salute. I'm thinking it's going to be like how they did the OJ joint. And that's really a dope idea right there. You know, 50 Cent vision is all that, man. Because he could have went so many different routes or different stories, a Death Row John or a Dr. Dre John. He's deciding to do Snoop's murder case. And it's so much you can go into that. So, because it's not just a murder case. His friend is the one. His friend says bodyguard, is on trial too, and so you have to get into both of their lives. And this is Snoop Dogg early in his career,
You would
so he's
have to
just
get into why he had a bodyguard. You also need to explain that. So it's
well.
gonna have to
I
show.
think I think they will. Well, I think he had a bodyguard because he's now a signed artist with platinum hit.
It's gonna
You
have
know,
to explain that because in the trial, I think they have to explain why this man was protecting, Snoop Dogg. But I think it's going to go into, like hip hop artists being just as, prominent as like Ray Charles. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Just as prominent as these other musicians. Snoop Dogg came out after this. Snoop Dogg came out. He sold, millions of records. His first album sold 800,000 units first week.
First week.
You know.
Yeah, so and the thing is, and I think his homie, the bodyguard name I think his name Malik, but the thing was, it was controversy with it because he said he seen the bull pull his gun. They tried to say he shot him first before he pulled the gun, but then there was so much evidence. Somebody moved the gun or whatever like that. Somebody stashed something there. It was so much going on. So his lawyers really had Snoop. And I don't know if he had Johnny Cochran on, if Suge got him Johnny Cochran in this
Yep.
team.
Yep,
But
that's what Suge was saying on the $1 million worth of game. That's one of the things he did when he got the $5 million is he went and put together a team of lawyers.
because you needed those team of lawyers because there was so much he say, she say, and stuff. Because I do believe some of the witness recanted their testimony about him, and that's really how he got off. The lawyers, man, the lawyers. So not to get off track, but it goes definitely. So yeah, definitely download that certified mixtape, my J.
And
But
everybody share this video right
definitely.
now. We're about to be joined by the bro SV Twiz.
Hit that like, and subscribe, share this video. But now it goes into Mikey T. I remember when Snoop, I wouldn't say when he was beefing with Suge Knight when they going back and forth, or even recently when he was like, yeah, he never really got no money from Death Row. And I said that can't be possible because they paid that, like you said, $5 million. I didn't know the exact number, but that's $5 million before you even sold albums. That's already up. So they now you have to recoup. You have to give that back some way somehow. So Snoop saying he didn't get any money. Nah, they saved your life, my nigga. So it's like, is what
Well,
the contract really bad or? Did they look at it like, well, look, Interscope put it out there. All right, we know you're gonna sell this many records, but we still need this $5 million from this case.
Well, I think Suge Knight kind of did the same thing that he had done with Snoop Dogg. I mean, that he had done with Tupac when he had lured in Tupac or gained Tupac's interest based off of the movie soundtracks.
Well, no, it was the thing was that Tupac. I think the album before that, Me Against the World. I think it was on Interscope. They wasn't going to bail him out. The guy that was a hit, it wasn't Jimmy Iovine, maybe
Even
the
though the
second
album
guy in
went to
charge.
number one,
Yeah,
they weren't going to bail him out.
and he was number one. So Suge Knight saw that as, no, we need to get him over here. And like Snoop said in the beginning, he like, yo, when get Pac over here, he like, I was excited because I know we gonna roll. We know what type of artist he is.
So this is one of the most interesting facts of this to me, man. Because, I looked at Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre like, yo, these guys were like the homies. This was like the ghetto version of Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff.
I would say, the gangster version.
The gangster version,
The G version.
But yo, it's like, honestly, man, it's like, it's interesting because Dr. Dre didn't work with Snoop that much in his career, aside from The Chronic and the Doggy Style albums, man. When they went on to the next album, Snoop's follow-up album from Doggy Style, man, when he did The Dogfather, Dr. Dre wasn't on that. When he did The Game Is to Be Sold, Not to Be Told, let me see, was Dre on that?
I don't think so.
That's
like, No Limit. I don't think Dre did any No Limit. I don't think he did any production on any of No Limit, Snoop No Limit career.
And that's another thing, Rosewood. When Snoop Dogg broke away from Dr. Dre, when Snoop Dogg broke away from Death Row, I would have thought he was going to go back with Dr. Dre.
Now the thing was,
I'm going to tell you what the thing was.
No, hold up.
Suge Knight exposed what the thing was.
Yeah,
but
now
you tell me what the thing was first.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it now. With back then, it was like, all right, Dre has to distance himself from everybody. He's starting whatever is new. He has to focus on that. But at the same time, when Snoop got free and he was over there with Master P, I thought Dre and Snoop was gonna come back together on the music tip. We might not see them together all the time, but production from Dre would be definitely getting sent over there, and it definitely wasn't. It's like, oh, all right, you on your own. But I'm thinking like, yo, that's his man. Not that's his artist he found, but I'm thinking Snoop is his man. So he like, oh, you away from Suge now. Now, whatever production you need, I got you.
That's what everybody thought.
I'm thinking Master P. I'm thinking Master P was going to have Dr. Dre beats. I thought it was going to be a down south West Coast new hybrid sound.
Bro, Suge Knight just effed my head up. Suge Knight, I took the wrong pill, effed my head up. Suge Knight just messed my head up because
what Suge said?
Suge said on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast that when Snoop Dogg was going through this infamous trial, the trial that was apparently going to put him away for life so that we would never have known the career that we ended up getting to know. Suge Knight said that they wanted Dr. Dre to take the stand as a witness for Snoop Dogg, basically a character witness, telling how much Snoop Dogg has changed his life, how Snoop Dogg is in the right direction. Dr. Dre wouldn't take the stand, Rosewood. Dr. Dre never took the stand. And I can understand where Dr. Dre was at. I was explaining this a little bit earlier. This is right. They only had deep cover, man. This is before, they had really blown up to be, like what Wiz and Snoop Dogg were a few years ago when they were doing Young, Wild, and Free. This is before Dr. Dre and Snoop were the faces of hip hop. I don't think Dr. Dre wanted to jump on that stand and put his face there for all the people to come with all their depositions, all the loss, whatever it was going to be. He didn't want to put his face out there like that, in my opinion, man. But Suge kind of blew my head up, man. We're going to bring SV Twiz in right now.
Twiz, my genius, the hood blogger.
What up, my Jay?
Did you get a
Honorable
chance
I
to see $1
can't
million
call it.
worth of game tonight, Twiz?
I saw it, Mikey. I saw it. That joint was epic, man. It was epic. It was good to hear from Suge, definitely, because we ain't really heard no
Right.
straight, clean interviews from him. We heard little clips of things, but you know that was heavy, man. Shout out to Gil and Wallow, man. They
Definitely.
doing their thing, heavy.
You know, I always wondered why we didn't see more of Snoop and Dre. You know, I always wondered it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Twiz? But after seeing this interview, and I just explained to Rosewood that Suge gone on the interview tonight and said that they wanted Dr. Dre to come in as a character witness for Snoop to explain that he was on the right side of the tracks, you know, that he was on the right path. And Twiz, Dr. Dre wouldn't do it. I got no choice but to believe that that must have caused quite a bit of friction between their friendship. Snoop Dogg probably thinking, oh, Dr. Dre will do anything for me. We got 105 people in here. I want everybody to share this video. The hip hop guys are here.
Hit that like button, share that video, baby.
Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Explain
Salute everybody in chat.
Explain this
Hey,
a little
Breezy.
bit more. Explain this a little bit more to our viewers in Rosewood, but also let me get your opinion on this, man, because this to me says why we didn't see more collaboration between these two. Because I, as a fan, watched throughout the years. Like I was saying to Rosewood earlier, after Snoop Dogg left Death Row, I would have expected Snoop to sign back up with Dre rather than Master P and No Limit. But this opens my eyes to a little bit. I have never heard before that Dr. Dre wouldn't take the stand for Snoop Dogg.
Now the thing is with that, Mikey T,
yeah,
I definitely heard that before. That was like a little industry thing before. Like what Suge said, I definitely heard that. You know, because Dre never went to none of the cases. He never went to none of the court dates. They had limo service every day. Like now, Sam Snead, he got beat up in death row because of that. You know, for him not going to the jobs. So you know they feeling some type of way if you're not going. So now Dre is the money maker. So there's only so much. No underlings to talk to Dre. It can only be Suge. And Suge can only, even when they're doing the community events about the voting, you got MC Hammer there, you got Snoop there, Pac there, Suge there, Danny Boy. There's no Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
So the thing is, he's like he's already was kind of distanced himself, and they can say because of the environment, but I'm not trying to really hear that, Dre. It was something weird about that. And the thing is, Dr. Dre might have not been where he was, but he still was a main figure or face. If he would have stepped up there and vouched for Snoop Dogg and said, nah, he been changed his ways. He's an artist now. He's working on music. And because of that, he has a lot of people that don't like him because he has to use them. Dr. Dre could easily said that, you know, but he wasn't already coming to the cases, so I wouldn't see him getting up on the stand any old way. So that definitely caused the friction, Mikey T.
Wow, you guys. EMW, appreciate you for tapping in, man. Go ahead and hit that like button.
Did? Okay.
Points out that Dr. Dre actually worked with Snoop Dogg. It was 6 years later from Doggy Style to the No Limit Top Dog. And the No Limit Top Dog actually, it sold 187,000 copies in its first week, and it featured the singles Bitch Please, which I guess is the single that actually went on to become Eminem's next single, Bitch Please Part 2 on the Marshall Mathers album.
Yep, exactly. Now, is that the third album? Not to cut you off, is that the third album on No Limit?
That's his second album on No Limit, because he had Doggy Style and The Dogfather. Then he had The Game Is to Be Sold and Not Told in 98 and No Limit Top Dog in 99. Now, I'm just being real, man. You know, as much as I read magazines and as much as I read, you know, books and as much as I go on the internet, I never heard about Dr. Dre actually being called up to testify on Snoop's behalf. Now, if I had ever been told about that, I would have assumed that Snoop Dogg and Dre did do that for Snoop. But I did notice the void in their relationship. Twiz, what was your thoughts hearing all this tonight?
My thoughts on hearing all that tonight. First and foremost, Rosewood, you right. that has been spoken on before. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me in the chat, y'all, if I'm wrong. But I believe Pac spoke on it before when he was talking about issues with Dre, where Pac actually had touched
No
up
more
on it.
Dre Day, Arriba Dirche. That's all I ever really heard him say about
No, but no, he spoke on it in the interview where he spoke about the situation with Snoop fighting the trial. And this was before, they had bumped pretty much Snoop and Pac had their little differences and things of that nature. As far as affecting the relationship, it get real tricky when you dealing with jail. Like, I done been in jail, and for all of y'all that been in jail, y'all might have had homies that never wrote y'all a letter and sent y'all $10. You might be a little irritated and upset when you in there, but the kind of case that he was fighting, when you get out, Snoop seemed like the type of person that put everything past him. Because, even at that time, he might not have came straight out. They might not have been working directly with each other at that time. But we got the wash. We got plenty of features, even like through the early 2000s and things of that nature. So I think that he eventually put it behind him. And he probably didn't really care about nothing but him getting his freedom because, the time he was facing was a nasty situation.
You're right, Twiz. The Up in Smoke tour, Snoop Dogg constantly being there to support Dr. Dre's artist, like Eminem, The Game, taking the game right on as the next hope of California. So I see what you're saying there, man. Jay Sinatra says that Dre just wants to make music, and I think that's interesting that Dr. Dre has gone from Eazy-E to Snoop Dogg to Eminem to 50 Cent to The Game to Kendrick Lamar, all these successful artists. What do you think it is, Twiz? Is he just giving them the launching pad? I mean, we have seen him stick alongside Eminem longer.
I feel like he just got the eye for talent. He got the eye for talent. Something that you have to be gifted to do. You can be the biggest person and co-sign the artist, but if this person ain't putting an impact on the people, then it really don't make no difference. Everything that he touched was legendary and golden. So if he give you the opportunity, that means he sees something special in you. That's just my opinion.
Oh, Rosewood, I didn't even mention it. A Philly legend also worked right.
And Scott Storch. And Scott Storch.
Also Storch.
Even Storch. Yep. And then another thing that's to piggyback off that before we leave, Dr. Dre is a perfectionist. So he takes long with things or whatever like that. So I think he had to get the aftermath situation going and at least drop 2001 or get that done. And then I think, because you see, like Twiz was saying, eventually he started working with Snoop Up in Smoke tour, like you said.
Okay, Rosewood. So
he had to get that first.
So let me ask you, Rosewood. Could he not start Aftermath off with Snoop Dogg? Would that have been too much like what he had just done? Like he had to go a different route.
Okay, I think is that too, and it was still too fresh after the Death Row days, and Snoop was still trying to get away from Death Row. So all that time, Dre really didn't have time, to really, and that was another thing. That's another thing I want to speak on. When they're doing, the Chronic album and all that, yes, Dre is the master recorder, engineer, and producer, but it was a lot of people like Daz, Hitman, even RBX producing. So you got a lot of songs that Daz produced. A lot of songs that RBX produced. Dre would come in and they would say he would just finish it up. But really, the real workers was really Daz. Daz was chirping them joints out. That's why when Pop got over there, all the beats he got was from Daz. It wasn't too many Dre beats. It's Daz. Because it's like that's how he got California Love. No, Dre, you gotta get this up for Pop. So he was sitting on California Love. Who knows when that was gonna come out?
Yeah, 50 M and Dre. Yeah, it was Eminem and 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Who came together and said, 50 Cent, we will give you anything you want.
Facts.
Yep.
Facts.
50 said,
Nope.
listen, I want $1 million and I want G-Unit Records. What's up, Twin?
And just to think about that, those were two artists that just changed hip hop. They were so impactful.
Yes.
Let's talk about for instance. I'm pretty sure was trying to get other opportunities, and Dre gave him that opportunity. And look what became of him and how legendary he became. Yeah. That's why 50 is always so loyal to and Dre, because they gave him that opportunity, and look where he at today. So it's really amazing, man.
Yeah, gave him the opportunity when he had the deal and it was a bad deal, fell through. He out there back on the block. He didn't think it was gonna get the opportunity. So I always knew like, yo, he was definitely always gonna be loyal to Dre and M. Because that's crafting the sound and him changing hip hop. They're a part of that. They're a part of that.
Yeah, Jay President says Dre was barely around and Pac was mad that Dre was getting all this credit. Well, I mean, with the environment that it was becoming, Dr. Dre really didn't want to be a part of that, But we're going to get into that topic you had right there, Leland Paul. Leland had a good topic right here for us, guys. He actually said Dr. Dre has co-signed a lot of shitty artists too, though. Let's talk about it, man. Do we know any artists that were under, not that good? Any artists that were not that successful that Dr. Dre has actually co-signed? There's a few that weren't successful. I'm not going to say they're not good artists.
I won't say they're not good artists. Yeah. They weren't successful under the Aftermath imprint. Bishop Lamont, he's definitely one of them, and he had a lot of potential. And who knows what went wrong with that?
His album was going to be called, I want to say, correct me if you know it, Rosewood, The Reintroduction.
It might be. I'm not sure. Somebody in the comment will have to know.
Kind of a bland title.
It was. But the thing is like he was creating a buzz with Get Music, and then there was no promotion or any backing, and then he just disappeared. But he's still signed to Aftermath. You could say Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes was signed to Aftermath or whatever before he went over to got the deal with Cash Money. That never materialized. Rakim was on Aftermath. He was supposed to drop an album, never came out. And I heard they used his album basically for somebody else. I forgot which artist. But the album he was going to do, they just put another artist on there.
Yeah, I'm bringing up the Aftermath Records page right now because there is a ton of artists that were signed to Aftermath that just didn't get to release albums. That Big Bang album didn't get to come out from Busta Rhymes eventually.
I don't think so, but if it did, it wasn't on. It wasn't on that.
So they had Stat Quo.
Yep, they did.
They had Gage, Gage. I don't know if you guys remember Gage. He had started to get a couple articles written about him. Twiz, you remember him?
No, I don't remember him offhand.
He had wow, Raekwon was signed, Joel Ortiz was signed. Slim the Mobster, 50 Cent and Dr. Dre came together to put out Slim the Mobster. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember him either.
What was that? What was that? Run that. My bad, Mike. What was that? Did you
50 Cent and Dr. Dre came together to put out the artist Slim the Mobster.
No.
Yeah, Slim the Mobster. He actually started dissing 50 after a while.
I don't remember him.
Because you only get as much you only get the most promotion when you're dissing 50 Cent.
Yeah, but he I don't even remember seeing him in the Source or Double XL or Vibe. This Slim the Mobster, this is a new one. I don't remember seeing him.
Wow, that's crazy. Capital third letter C says never even heard of him. Definitely appreciate you tapping in tonight, man. K-Dot was popping, man.
K-Dot, what up, baby?
K-Dot, what's up, bro? Much love and respect.
K-Dot is always asking for you, Twiz.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
That's the G.
Yep. Leland Stat Quo was from ATL. That was actually an Eminem and a Dr. Dre project.
Yeah,
same way,
like 50,
same way
right?
like 50. Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm. But they was moving down south with it. So I seen the logic in it because it's like we did the same with 50. Let's get a popping down south artist and do the same way and push it.
But I mean, you know, Stat Quo was able to make some we're gonna get into your question in just a second, Tanya. Stat Quo was able to make some friends while there. Him and the Game actually created a label together. Not sure what the status is on that. I know they were trying to call it Rolex Records, Twiz.
Yeah.
Him and the Game actually created a label together.
Rolly Records.
Yep, Rolly Records. Yeah, maybe they should have just called it Rolly Records. Come on, man. We need to put Twiz on the payroll. Philly's in this bit, man. Philly done brought Suge Knight back tonight. I'm giving that credit.
Yeah, definitely.
Because nobody else in the country would, in the media, in the country, Nori didn't do it. Joe Budden didn't do it. They could have did it for years now. You know what I mean? This isn't to discredit those two geniuses of the culture. Charlemagne didn't do it. The Breakfast Club didn't do it.
Well, you know what? Like Suge said, I believe Gil or Wallow asked this question where they asked Suge, like, bro, none of the CEOs and nobody ever reached out to you. And, you know, it's like a thin line between networking with somebody that these industries don't like than just doing what the people want. The only person I probably could have seen that would have probably tried to make that happen probably was Ack. You know what I mean? Was DJ Ack. But like all the other ones, you know, they like politics involved and things of that nature.
Yep. But you know what, man? Gilly isn't some weirdo blogger, you know. He turned down the 6ix9ine interview, and then he didn't even bring up 6ix9ine in this interview. That just shows you how irrelevant that whole shit is to his life, you know, to his work, his life.
Yeah, it shows you the principles that Gil stand on. It's deeper than just a view or a topic. You know what I mean?
Listen, I want everybody to share this video. Mixed Match said he's down with Suge Knight. Well, reach out to Suge Knight and let him know that the hip-hop guys want him on the panel. There's them guys, the hip-hop guys. That's right, Mikey T, Rosewood, and Twiz. Salute Bonds.
Yes, sir.
Let me get back to it, man, because I'm giving Philly their flowers right now.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
Philly has the only network that put Suge Knight out there on their platform for an exclusive interview. And you know what? It's going to be seen by 1 million people. 1 million people are going to get $1 million worth of game. And, you know, Suge came on this platform saying that he just wanted to really, he's upset that he's not out right now, Rosewood, to be giving the youngsters the game that he wishes he could give them. Now, it seemed like that's what he really was doing. I mean, he came and signed Crooked Eye, Eastwood. You know what I'm saying? He had a whole different label of artists. You know, he was giving all different types of West Coast people money and shit like that. Jay Sinatra says, salute to Philly from the DMV.
Jay Sinatra, shout out to the DMV.
Much
shout out my man
respect.
Kels down there in Newport News, man.
But yeah, man, this was a dope interview tonight. But the main topic of it that we're talking about is actually having to do with Dre and Snoop. Now, Twiz, you said that you heard it before about you know, Snoop and Dre and the trial. But the main thing that I had heard before was Suge telling the story on a couple different platforms about how when Pac had passed away, that Jimmy Iovine was like, "You've got it made. This is gonna make Death Row an even bigger cash cow." You know what I mean? He got Vince McMahon vibes. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really, I don't know. I mean, I find that kind of like that's kind of like distasteful. You know what I mean?
It is.
The industry is a cold game, Mikey T. Not to cut you off, Twiz. The industry is a cold game.
You good. Like when the artist died, don't matter if it was Pac or the artist that's going today. It might stir up a lot of publicity. They might be able to swing out a few unreleased albums, but nothing is like having the energy of that artist there, man. You know what I mean? It's just certain energy, and Pop energy was just on a different galaxy. So that's just hard to try to build. Like even with them continuing with Death Row early 2000s, it was never the same. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So, guys, there's talk of 50 Cent actually doing a show for Snoop Dogg. Rosewood and I were tapping in on it a little bit earlier. Now, I got a feeling if this show is going to be all about the trial of Snoop Dogg, I think it should involve the key scene right here that Suge Knight has played out of Dr. Dre being asked to testify on Snoop's behalf and Dr. Dre getting spooked about it. That's what I think, Twiz. I'm going to go to you first on this. Do you think, first of all, Rosewood and I were talking about it a little bit earlier. What do you think about the idea of a Snoop Dogg show, a trial, you know, kind of like the O.J. Simpson trial? I think that's where 50 is drawing an inspiration from.
Okay, so if it's going to be based on the trial, I mean, that's one thing. It definitely could be detailed and sharp. I just think it would make more sense to do an actual series show of his life, starting from his up.
Sometimes they just do a series based on one event. You know, like I saw
That's
this
true.
one series with Ryan Phillippe. Y'all know Ryan Phillippe. He was in Cruel, and it was like, you know, he's not usually a TV guy to me, but he had this show where he had to save his daughter. His daughter gets kidnapped or something, and then he has 10 episodes to save his daughter. O.J. Simpson's trial. It's a show called The O.J. Trial with Cuba Gooding Jr. I'm not sure how many episodes it was, but I just feel like it wasn't O.J.'s whole life. It was just that one part of his life.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother bag, Twiz. Snoop's whole life.
Well, even
my bad,
go ahead, Honorable. You good?
Now I was gonna say it also plays in what I was saying earlier, Twiz, before you tapped in. I was telling Mikey T that Snoop is the first artist we've seen go on a murder trial, but then also put out a mini movie and an album. Murder Was the Case to capitalize on that. You know, so that's why with this, I think they'll be putting Murder Was the Case music in there. I'm hoping they do. I hope they incorporate that too and show like that too. It's real interesting how they'll break it down, Twiz, like how Mikey T was saying.
And that's what's so crazy about Snoop life and his career is because it's enough action that can be put in that series just from that time frame alone. As far as some performing or whatever even led up to them driving and being in that situation. You know what I mean? So it would be lit. Like you said, Mikey, a full story could maybe be years down the line in a whole different bag. You know what I mean?
But Twiz, they do need to show like why Snoop wins this trial, right? Snoop wins this trial because when you have a bodyguard that defends you, you know, when you have a bodyguard that defends you, you are legally good. So they need to explain how Snoop Dogg came from being this dude in the ghetto to now being worthwhile of having a bodyguard. I think that's the story that they can really tell. And then it'll be really eye-opening for the culture, because the culture really needs to understand that right now. Like,
no, true. Because there's a lot of people that don't know that story. You know, there wasn't like, I was fortunate enough to be around to be able to watch MTV and see all the updates, you know, because back then you have to come with actual factual news. So they're in the courtroom, you know, or you're seeing, or they're bringing you when it's the verdict, wherever it may be. They're keeping you in touch, you know. So it's so much that they can, you know, go real. That's public record. That's still video. So I'm assuming that if they do it like that, 50 might add some part to the real trial in there. You know, like when they showed it on TV or whatever like that, taking clips from that or whatever and showing stuff that the world might have not saw. You know, if you was local in LA, you might have saw it, but the world might have not seen that clip or reporter talking about the actual case or whatever, or him come. You know, it's a lot of stuff you can do with that.
Well, right here, Snoop is a skinny. He can't fight. He has to pay others to do it for him. That is the point. When you're a celebrity, you're not supposed to be fighting somebody. First of all, in general, when you're walking up and down the street, you're not supposed to be putting hands. You're not supposed to be putting hands on anybody. You know,
Right.
Facts.
So honestly, yeah, Twist.
I just wanted to say one thing: when you're in a position of success, this goes back to what we talked about on a few previous streams, as far as trying to prove your realness, prove your toughness. So, say for instance, he was out here wilding out and doing things, and then we got to be saying rest in peace to him because he was trying to fight like a man. And somebody did him like King Von or something like that. He was moving how he was supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Right, man. There's a difference, you know, when somebody is a musician, an actor, a talent, and when you're just an everyday person. You know, people have schedules. Like a lot of these celebrities, they wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, earlier than that, to make a scheduled appearance at 9 o'clock in the morning, or they have a call time
Or
at
7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, or earlier than that. You know, it's not like it's not all peaches and cream, sleeping until 11 a.m. You know what I mean?
Facts.
But so right here, Mr. Lieber says Death Row's lawyer and Suge Knight was the reason why he didn't do life in jail, and that's what Suge was explaining. He put his whole company on the line, Twiz, right? That's what he was explaining. He went to Jimmy Iovine and asked for $5 million.
Yep.
Man, we heard bad things about Suge, but we all gotta agree on that. If you was a part of Suge team, he was taking care of you. It's not an artist on death row that wasn't taken care of.
Facts. That's facts. That's why I was saying earlier, Twiz, I remember Snoop saying, like, yeah, my deal was bad and Suge Knight owed me money and all this. But now we already knew about, you know, them Death Row putting up money for the trial. But with Suge actually going in debt with it, we never really knew that he had to go to Jimmy and them, and actually Jimmy and them thought that was a bad idea. So we had to convince them to give him the money to pay for Snoop, or to say Snoop was well worth it. You know, so I can see why Suge, like you said, Suge don't get the flowers for the good things that he did. You know, he might have did better business or whatever like that, but all of them were young. And at the same time, right, you know, they talk about the cars and all that. They had to get in a label name. Y'all young, y'all don't have no credit. Y'all can't get these cars. Y'all can't get these houses. So it has to be like that. And they put up $5 million for you before you drop your album. So it's like,
and let's not forget, this day and time in music, it's not like now where you can go viral overnight. Some people had to use force. You know, on top of Suge was very well educated. Like you said, he got a degree from college and things of that nature. But he wasn't scared of going in the office and ruffling a few feathers in order to get their team where they needed to be. You know what I mean? So it took all of that.
And Suge did rap too. But that's
no. He bodyguard for Bobby Brown. So he was able to see how the industry works. And then Bobby Brown is up there. So he's dealing with the top execs and all that. So Suge Knight, you know, he was able to learn, you know, once he couldn't play football no more, he was able to be in those inner circles and those places to see how things are run. And then when Dr. Dre come to him to get him out the deal with Easy or whatever, then he was like, all right, this is how we going to handle it. You know, and at the end of the day, they can have all the stories and shit and whatever they said. You know, I don't think they did anything to Easy or whatever, you know, but I did think they did some, you know, strong arm moves to make him sign some stuff. But at the end of the day, Eazy-E still owned Dr. Dre's material.
Yeah, they went to court.
Anybody that wrote for him, anything he produced, he said Dre Day makes easy payday. When I heard that, I said, oh man.
Hold on. Let's get we need to get a clear vote on what is a better line. Was it Eazy-E saying what did Eazy-E say? He's like when they play Dre Day, it means it's Easy's payday.
Yeah,
What did he say?
he said Dre
Yeah.
Day makes
He
Easy's
said,
payday.
yeah.
Or Dre Day makes Easy's payday, or was Tupac's better? It's no longer Dre Day, Arrivederci. Which one was
Easy.
better?
Easy,
Easy's was.
easy. Cause
You
cause
got
cause we didn't know that. Nobody knew that. Nobody knew that.
Uh-huh.
And
Nobody
Easy,
knew what.
nobody
Oh,
knew that Easy E still. We thinking that Dr. Dre got free, Suge did all that. He
And it
like, no, I ain't
definitely
go down like that. I'm still getting paid
Let's
off, main man.
and it
let's
definitely wasn't a Arrivederci. It wasn't, Arrivederci for Dr. Dre's music.
No.
exactly like let's think about it. At the time when this happened, where Easy was saying this, it wasn't normal for an artist to really have control of artists like that. So people was like, "Dang, you can do that." You know what I mean? We talk about back in
Right.
the day, even to the point where he was on Arsenio Hall talking about it, the one where he came out
Right.
with the robe on and everything. And
Right.
he was like, I'm comfortable regardless. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was like smeared it in his face. Like, he went to a different job, but I own a social security number.
But
He gotta pay me
Jay,
taxes.
Right.
Jay, you got to understand because one of the first things Suge said when he got onto the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast is that he wishes he was still out to help the youngins. You got to understand that back then Suge was helping the young artists. He was helping an artist like
Well,
Rosewood was explaining. Tupac was in jail when he went #1. You know what I mean? Tupac, when he was out, Tupac wasn't making that much bread, so Suge put him on a soundtrack, even though but other artists, Snoop Dogg got brought in. He brought in Snoop Dogg's youngins, Corrupt and Daz. You know what I mean?
facts.
So he was helping the youngins back then.
Mm-hmm.
But
He
he's
he
talking
was
about the even younger people. But Twiz, you can go on from there, brother.
he was, and I feel like he also turned all of them into more business. Business like even when we spoke about Snoop having a bodyguard, I'm pretty sure that was like through Death Row and things
Mm-hmm.
of that nature. But one thing I need to add on is the way that it fell for Death Row. It was hard for them to even expand more because at the time when Pop got killed, they was forming Death Row East. Let's not forget about this.
Right.
That
And
he
you
put Pac in position.
You heard what he said? You heard what he said tonight? He said he was talking about how people would snatch other artists. And he was talking about, he mentioned names like how Jadakiss and DMX were emerging. Suge and Pac were creating Death Row East. I got a feeling that Suge was planning on going over there and snatching some of those East Coast artists, Twiz.
Facts, and this is after the beef. So what type of chess move is that? You know what I mean?
Facts. Now I heard I don't know if it was the Locks on Drink Champs, it was an interview, and Sheik said Suge called his mom house. Kiss was like, yo, Suge tried to sign us. And then Sheik was like, yo, Suge called my mom house to try to sign us.
Yeah, he was that type of dude. I mean, welcome our guy Bond Simmons. Suge Knight,
True Religion Network.
Suge Knight actually flew Bond Simmons, Shay Davis, and was it Q Life? Bonds?
Yeah.
Salute Q Life. He was on the show last week. Bonds, I don't know if you caught the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. We'll get into that in just a second. But everyone joining us, I appreciate y'all joining us tonight. We got 100 people in here. We are the hip hop guys. And I'm going to pass it over to Bond Simmons because Suge Knight actually flew. Bond Simmons got flued out, as they say. Flued out, right? He got flued out by Suge Knight.
Yo, you funny.
It's a business move, though.
Yo, that sounded real scandalous, though. I don't appreciate that. Like,
well, welcome back.
Yo, thank God, man. I don't know. I was really sick. I've been sick this week. Like, it's my first time popping out, like popping my head out, bro. Like, I've been going through it. Like, they gave me a positive corona test, but listen, that's a whole nother story. about the propaganda and all that. I'm gonna just say I was under the weather for a minute, you know what I mean? But
I'm
I'm back.
definitely
Glad you're
praying.
doing better, bro.
I got
He
COVID,
flew
man. That
huh?
boy got
We
COVID.
we Mikey crazy. We praying for you,
It's
man.
all
You gonna push right through it, man. You know, roll some of
Yeah,
that sour up, man. It'll burn it out your system. You know
fact.
what I
yeah.
That
mean?
shit don't help.
And a
That
little
shit
bit of
don't
the
help,
Henny.
Chris.
The sour and the Henny, Bonds.
Yeah, man.
Take it back to the South Side days, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
man.
sure. Now I've been drinking my water. I've been going crazy with the garlic and the ginger.
Right,
You know what
right,
I'm
right.
saying? I've been
Yo,
Honorable.
crazy.
Bonds, I was paying the Philly boys. You know, I was paying our Philly boys. We got the Philly boys. You know,
Just trying to make it. Huh?
I was paying the Philly boys some respect because $1 million worth of game podcast is really the first major platform to give Suge Knight a time to speak. Joe Budden, Nori, Breakfast Club, Rap Radar. Nobody else has given Suge a chance to speak, but Philly has. Bonds, let's give them Philly their flowers for that, man.
Nah, that's a fact though, man. That's a fact. I love Philly though, man. Philly is, you know,
We
it's
cousins.
I love, the camaraderie. I love what Philly stand on. Like, you always got your drama and your BS in any hood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Dudes they gonna stick to the formula, but you know what I mean. The undertone of Philly is more or less honorable. You know what I'm saying? And like they say, a city of brotherly love. You know what I'm saying? So I just love. You know what I'm saying? Like I love my people like that. I love my bros. So when I see just, you know what I'm saying? When I see
Appreciate
that,
it.
it's like, I mean, that's something I want to be a part of. Like, you know what I mean? That's something I want to tap into, like, for
I
real.
appreciate that, Bonds. I
Appreciate you.
appreciate that, bro.
Appreciate you.
For sure. For sure.
This is interesting. Jay Sinatra says, I think it was him and Irv Gotti and Jay Prince that were going to build something to grab everyone because we were just
It
speaking about
was.
how Suge Knight was planning on bringing Death Row East over.
Mhm.
Bonds has actually been courted by Murder Inc. as well. Bonds, how strong was that force that they had? Because that was Murder Inc. actually pulling up on a G Unit block to come and holla at you.
Yeah, Murder Inc. I mean, they always been, in the hood, bro. Like, dudes is stand for what they stand for in the hood. Like, but at the end of the day, everybody looking for opportunity, bro. Like, to be honest. So it's like dudes gonna say whatever, but if an opportunity, I mean, not like you gonna break the code or whatever, do something dishonorable, but like you know what I'm saying, like it wasn't nothing, it wasn't that serious in my eyes of a beef. So but yeah, definitely, that opportunity, their presence was because they always was, Job been in the game for a while, even with Cash Money Click, even before that. So and Irv was definitely a figure. So it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they was, they always had that respect as, you know what I'm saying?
Did you ever go to any of the music video, Murder Inc. music video shoots?
No, no.
No, you didn't.
Mm-mm.
Did you hear about him? Because I had heard that they had blocked off portions of the town and shit like that. What would
I
you?
I remember I think Ja had a video on a Coliseum block at one time. I don't remember them shooting videos in the hood like that. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think Ja had I think at one point I do remember him doing some that was like one time ever, and you know what I'm saying? But Ja wasn't shooting videos in the hood like that, like you know what I mean? Not to say, you know what I mean, what like it just probably
No,
wasn't
we
having
know.
nothing to do with his
We know. Ja Rule took off and became a superstar and shit. But yo,
name.
it's the hip hop guys. We're back. We've been talking a little bit tonight about Suge Knight breaking his silence. Suge Knight had a bunch of shit to say on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. I don't know if you had caught it, Bonds, because you're in recovery, but I'll break it down for you a little bit. Suge Knight basically came on there. He wasn't really trying to send shots at anybody. He really doesn't want to have any sort of issue with Snoop. He had explained at one point, running into Snoop's son and almost feeling like an uncle is what he said, right, Twiz?
Right.
Facts. Big facts. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And being in his situation, you got a time to dwell on things that was going on, and you realize sometimes issues that you had was not that big of a deal. It was just misunderstanding, miscommunication. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Give
No,
a shout out
hey.
to our guys from New Zealand.
Shout out to New Zealand in the building. Hey, now, Mikey T.
What's up, Rosewood?
I seen somebody in the comment, Leland Paul. I just want to say I did see your comment. You definitely was right. They were definitely trying to create a black-owned distribution company, and that was Jay Prince, Suge Knight, and Irv Gotti. I do believe it was one more person, but I'm not exactly sure who. But that was the three main ones. And then you see what happened. Suge Knight went to jail. The feds started investigating Jay Prince, and then Murder Inc. got investigated by the feds too. Well, they went to trial with the feds.
They was
So
too
basically,
powerful.
you see a powerful entity came down and say, no, we cannot have this. Because even to this day, we still don't have a black-owned distribution company.
Look how powerful they were. Look how powerful they were. They saved, Suge Knight saved Snoop Dogg. You know what I mean?
Right.
The record, Interscope came to Suge and they're like, he's going to lose this. Suge, why? Suge, we understand you got to hit record with him, work it for what you can, but he's going to lose this. And Suge put it all on the line for Snoop Dogg. You know what I mean? As anybody would do for their friend at the time, but you know what happens. Friendships fade, relationships go away, shit like that. And then you just got to feel how you want to feel afterwards. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, we ain't friends no more, but I did that for him back then.
Nas said it the best. Love changes, a thug changes, and best friends become strangers.
I guess that was a little bit better than what I just said.
A quote from Nas. Quote from Nas.
Well, I just gave you a quote from Mikey T, the movie star.
Hey, I'm not dissing your quote, Mikey T. I just gave you a little slicker one.
I come with this quote, and Rosewood's like, it's almost as good as Nas' quote.
Look, you can use that one from now on, Mikey T. You got that.
Yeah. So Suge Knight really went to these guys and they told him it was over for him. And Suge asked for $5 million to put up for Snoop Dogg. And guys, it's interesting because I got to talk about this. The relationship of Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. You know, I could never put my finger on it. But the relationship seemed strained. It seemed like, what happened? They don't hang out as much as they, you know what I mean? Like, if Shine had beat his case, you would have expected Shine to start hanging out with Diddy a whole lot more. But Shine had to go to jail for 10 years. You know what I mean? Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, it seemed like they were the best of friends. But then Dr. Dre just up and left without even giving a damn.
That might have been why they made the movie The Wash. It's like a comedy briefer of really how their relationship was. You know, they was homies at the beginning of the movie. Dre got a different position in the job, started getting a little big-headed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Dre got the position as the manager.
Right.
Yeah.
Snoop was his man. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Dre, I'm gonna need you to watch the shop.
Facts.
But yo, Bonds, we've been talking about it. I think one of the biggest stress of the relationship of Dre and Snoop is what Suge Knight said. Suge Knight said they were going to call Dr. Dre to testify on behalf of Snoop, you know, as a character witness, and Dr. Dre would not take the stand. Bonds, what do you think about that? They were not trying to, you know, persecute Dr. Dre. They weren't bringing him there to make him have to pay any sort of fee.
Yeah, but you know, didn't Beanie say, who said somebody else? Beanie said Jay-Z did that to him or something.
Well, no, Jay-Z.
It was a little
Jay-Z
different.
went up there.
Oh
Jay-Z,
yeah,
but
yeah,
Jay
wouldn't sign off on his bail paper or something.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't sign off on his bail. Like, yo, he was like, yo, can you sign?
If you
and he was
say,
like, to say that he's not gonna, you're gonna be responsible for this guy. You know what I'm saying? That we're gonna let him out on bail. and he was like, Jay was like, nah,
No,
like you know,
no,
some
hold on,
people
not to
don't
cut
want
you off
to.
though,
He probably
Bonds. He also said that Jay-Z definitely went up there and said a lot of good things about him.
right.
Yeah,
We only heard
and
that part, but when he came on, he
yeah,
said, no, Jay got up there and said a lot of good things about me. Beyonce did too. He said
Right.
that's when it came
yeah,
to that part. So that's
Exactly.
why I'm saying with Dr.
yeah.
Dre is like you could at
He
least
didn't come
say
up
some
there.
good things and that's left.
That's all
Yeah,
Dre had
Bonds.
to
They
do as
asked
a
him.
homie.
But
Yeah,
that's
Bonds. They asked Jay-Z the question. Listen,
right. See, you
will
know,
will
some
you put
dudes just
yourself on the line? Will
yeah.
you? Yeah, what's up, Bonds?
I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
I know
I'm,
I'm not asking you if you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? I think anybody would do it, but I mean, this is a different time, you guys. When Dr. Dre, when Dr. Dre and Snoop were going through this, this was in the 90s. It's a different
Yeah,
world than
true.
when Jay. What year did Jay do it for Beanie? In 2005?
Yeah, early
Yeah,
2000s, basically.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like 06, 07. Might have been like
Mm-hmm.
07-ish.
but nah, see, that is what it is type thing because I mean, you know, like you can't. That's one of them things where if that's somebody how somebody want to live their life, you can't tell him like he may not want to vouch, he may not want to, you know, put
But
himself, and you don't know how those people, you know what I mean. Once you put yourself on them people's radar, you don't know
the
what's gonna happen. You don't know what he doing in his personal life that he don't want to be, you know,
True.
around them people. Like you know, when the
the
Right.
people.
the only thing with Dre is he wouldn't have had no responsibility for Snoop. All he had to do was basically do what just like Uncle Murder just did. All you doing is going up there and saying that he's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? It's not like saying, bring him home to me. I'm gonna make sure I take care of him.
Right.
He's not gonna get in
Now,
no trouble.
Twiz, G
Fact.
Fresh says G Fresh pointed out in this interview, Suge said this as well, but Interscope made the decisions. And just like Interscope told Suge Knight, listen, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket with Snoop Dogg. They went to Dre and they said, listen, we don't think it. They probably went to Dre and said, we don't think it's in your best interest to go there. But I just want to say personally,
Well,
I sympathize with what Dre was going through, man. I wouldn't want to walk inside those buildings because you got to walk through the metal detector. You got to slide your license and your wallet through the thing. You got to basically, back in the 90s, Dre probably was thinking, yo, man, they're going to get me to go up in this building and I'm not coming out. I think he was a little paranoid. Rosewood?
No, because that goes back to what we said earlier, or somebody definitely in the comments said it. Dre was only about making the music. All that other stuff, all that other nonsense, he said, I'm not a part of that. I'm a part of making these hits and, building the company up to what it could be great.
All right, Twiz, respond to this comment real quick. Michael Brown says Beans dropped the ball. Bottom line, it wasn't Hove's job to hold that man's hand forever.
I'm not gonna say Beans dropped the ball. Beans was just the artist that wasn't somebody that was just rapping about things that he was just around. Beans was the muscle. It was cool when Beans was jumping off stage and punching people and saving a artists. But when
Mm-hmm.
things get dark, you want to back up. It's no different than how Pac was with Death Row. Suge and them was riding behind him. Even when they did the situation at the casino, they was riding with him. They was right there with him. I'm not going to say he dropped the ball. He might have been a little wild, but look at the age he was. Look at where he
True.
come from. We talking about Beans, a real South Philly G where if he didn't have that deal, he just moved on certain principles, man. So that was just his character. I feel
Facts.
like dropping the ball is getting put in a position and you not putting out good music. Beans did nothing but put out good music. He did nothing but
Facts.
add energy to Rockefeller. You know what I mean? So him being from the streets, he just didn't understand it because if the shoe was on the other foot, Beans would have known what he would have did in that courtroom.
Well, Bob Barker, appreciate you for responding to that comment as well, Twiz, man. That was a
Definitely.
live question on YouTube for anybody, the hip hop guys. We respond. We be in the middle of a topic, but also we get a question, we respond. Rosewood sees some shit that's a factor in what we're talking about, we throw it up. But listen, this is a good comment from Bob Barker. Dr. Dre wasn't signing up for no G shit. He used music to dodge having to be on the gangster time in real life. So when that shit presented itself, he curved it. You know, it's kind of like when you have a job. You know, it's kind of like when you have a 9 to 5 and you run into somebody who's like, wow, I ain't read about you in the paper in a while, or you know, like, wow, you haven't been getting in no trouble. You've been dodging trouble, and you ain't getting in trouble because you're away from somewhere for like 8 hours working your job. And that's where Dre was. He was hiding himself in his work. You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah.
I just want to say, as far as signing up for G stuff, that's not considered signing up for G stuff. Signing up for G stuff is we all got a record label, and then and Mikey get in the argument, and me, Bonds, and Rosewood, we pull our burners out and start shooting. You know what I mean? Like, we talking about stepping in the courtroom and speaking positive on one of your peers, a real person from the streets. If anything, they would have been like, bro, I don't do all that. I'm not stepping in on no stand, none of that. Like, I don't do that. You know, that's when you can take a street aspect.
Not even to be like, you're a good dude. Not be like, yo, man, what do you mean you're a good dude? I just seen you smash somebody in the head with a 40. And you
not even that. Not even that. Not to cut you off, Twiz, but some street dudes don't feel comfortable getting up there. Period. They don't feel comfortable stepping in that door. How you said with Dre, it's just they don't like that.
Now your name is getting on paperwork, and I don't know the full T.I. situation, but it's like how T.I. is trying to argue that he took the stand for himself. Now it's like, bro, you was on the stand with a suit and a tie. You do all this gangster music, and you on there talking about, you know, he didn't do nothing but go to Walmart and sit at home with his family. You know, it kind of mess up your, you know what I mean? Yeah, right, Uncle Whip murder was.
At that point, though, Twiz, T.I. should have been retired. You know, he had 5 or 6 albums. He had a successful TV show. He's retired doing movies, man. You know what I'm saying? But when you
still wanted to be music famous. He didn't want to take himself what?
And he still wanted to be connected to the streets.
But let's talk about this, man, because Bonds, with all this conversation, I think that this needs to be in the Snoop Dogg miniseries, the Murder Was the Case miniseries that is potentially being developed by 50 on Stars. I think it would be a great scene if Dr. Dre did something like that and Snoop, you know, where they had Snoop and them telling Dre that he needs to come and testify. And Dre's like, man, I sip cognac and smoke blunts all day. I'm not going to the courtroom. What do you think, Bonds? Could this be a great scene for the new?
That could be, that's gonna be a scene that sparked some conversation for sure.
For sure.
Well, you know, one thing I feel like out of the whole situation, and I know that sometimes people can be like, you know what, I don't deserve an explanation for nobody, but I feel like as many years has passed, it would be dope if Dre at least would speak on what was his state of mind, how was he feeling, and why didn't he show up to, you know, to speak in a positive manner on his homie. You know what I mean? He in a position where he could say anything. I was going through things in life, or like somebody said earlier, in the scope was like, don't do it, bro. We're not gonna give you this money. You're not gonna proceed. You know what I mean? I feel like the fans deserve to know that.
It could have told everything.
This is a definite story. This definitely happened with this.
That's what Suge Knight said, man. And you know, but like I said earlier, Bonds, Suge Knight did say when Tupac passed that Jimmy Iovine came to him and was like, this is going to be everything. You're going to make all the money now. Death Row is going to be a major cash cow. Like, Suge Knight is telling these type of stories from behind the scenes, you know, that allegedly happened. That, you know, he's kind of unveiling some crazy information right now, Bonds. Do I believe that Jimmy Iovine said that about Tupac's passing? Not really. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do I want to believe that Dr. Dre didn't go and jump on the stand when presented the opportunity? As a fan, I don't want to believe that. So that's why I want to ask the question to all of you guys. If Dr. Dre in fact didn't take the stand for a guy I thought was actually his friend, a couple people in the chat said they were business associates. This was a job. That's what some people are saying in the chat. That's what some people are speculating on the internet. I want to bring it around because we didn't see another album like Doggy Style ever from Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
Right.
Bonds, do you think this is what has tainted the relationship of Snoop and Dre? I always thought something had to be off because they seem to go different ways. Even Snoop Dogg leaving Death Row, going to No Limit. Why didn't he just go back with Dre?
Could have. I mean, I know from what I remember around that time, I guess, Snoop was trying to establish himself. You know what I'm saying? I guess he felt like everybody was probably robbing him and raping him. And then I don't even know if Dre had full control of his own situation at that point. You know what I'm saying? Well, he always did after I guess immediately after Easy died, he was with the Suge, but I don't know how his how that situation transpired. Like that wasn't.
No, that's an interesting point you bring up because earlier I was saying if Dr. Dre would have brought Snoop Dogg as the face of Aftermath, it may have been too similar to Death Row.
Something like that. You never know. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what Snoop would have probably wanted a piece of the company. You know what I'm saying? Rightfully so at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And you still gotta deal with Suge, the person that you're trying to get away from.
Exactly.
So I think Snoop was basically trying to get away from that whole situation as a whole, even the coast and all that, and really rebrand himself as what's coming next after Death Row. So I think that's what he's looking at. I need to rebrand myself and push me after Death Row.
Well, Mike Brown says tainted relationship. LOL. They're doing the Super Bowl halftime in 2 months. I definitely, have witnessed Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg's friendship going from the Up in Smoke tour, to the Wash film. But
we brought that up.
All I'm saying is that we never saw the collaboration from Dre and Snoop again, like from the Chronic and Doggy Style.
Or even Deep Cover, the song Deep Cover.
Because I looked at them like they had a relationship like we saw Method Man and Snoop Dogg, Method Man and Redman go on to have.
Right.
I mean, I really thought that they were going to be.
Well, actually, they did have the Snoop was on the Still.
2001, yes, yeah.
That's a big break.
Yeah, Dr. Dre actually came and produced on Snoop Dogg's second No Limit album. That was in 1990. This was This was 7 years after their first pairing, Doggy Style.
And that's why I was saying earlier, Bonds. I'm like, we brought it back up that Snoop and Dre started working again, but it really wasn't until Dre really had his project, Chronic 2001, basically done, and then he came back and started working with Snoop.
Yeah, because they definitely had classic shit like, the Next Episode. But, also Rosewood Bonds, it could be Dr. Dre's MO because we've always seen him, he does the album, he does Easy, he does Snoop, he does the 50 album, he does the Game album, and then he lets the artists go on to do their own thing. I'm not too familiar with what he did with Kendrick Lamar. How many was his relationship different with Kendrick Lamar, Rosewood? Did he do multiple albums from him?
No, the relationship with Kendrick Lamar was a little different. I think it was more like cosign / mentor type shit type situation or whatever, because he was TDE or whatever like that. But it was like, I think somebody took him to Dre. You shopping around your talent. Back then they would say your demo. You shopping around your demo. You freestyling for different people. you come across Dre, you at his house, whatever it may be, or I'm rocking with you. So they might have did some things together, whatever, and it might
That
just
might
be a
have been
Dre
Top
quote.
and Dre. Maybe that made more of a collaboration with Top and Dre.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying Kendrick was top dog artist. The dude from Cali.
So it is probably looking for a top producer, and then with a Dre co-sign, and then Dre producing the things. But I think it go back to what Pac was saying. You know, Dre's a perfectionist, and he take too long. So they probably like, look, it's cool linking with Dre, but we gotta move on.
Facts. I think they say Kendrick trying to do his own thing now, like with Top.
So let me see.
Cool.
When did Snoop Dogg go back to Interscope? Was it Rhythm and Gangsta?
I'm not sure.
No, yep, that's when he went back. He actually went back and signed to the same label that they went and brought the game over to, and that label is Geffen.
Geffen.
So, am I saying that right?
Uh-huh.
I was like, nah, you're not saying that right.
No, because the Jizzle was on the block on me too.
They had Mary J. Blige too, right?
Yep. At one point they had Mary J, the Jizza, couple other artists.
Dr. Dre hasn't produced entire albums since the Death Row days. Kendrick just needed the Dre stamp. TD already had Kendrick ready, made to go. Jay Sinatra says Dr. Dre is methodical and he might be working on something as we speak. Dr. Dre is definitely working on. I believe the last thing I heard, he was going to be doing the Marsha and how do you say her name? The
Marsha Ambrosia.
Yeah, the Marsha Ambrosia album, and we were just actually talking.
She's been over there for a while.
A lot of artists been over there for a while. You know, like it's just that's the marketing is an issue. That's why like Dr. Dre went to 50 Cent with the game, and he was like, "Listen, man, we can pair you up here. We can make the people like it. It'll be cool."
Facts. Yep, the marketing.
Def Jeff in the building. Salute to you, Def Jeff. He said,
Def Jeff.
Love Dre's production. He knows what West Coast sound and what people want and makes complicated beats, not Fisher Price beats. Twiz, so let me bring it a different way with you. Did you expect more out of the relationship with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, or are you satisfied with the Chronic, Doggy Style, and then we got, Still Dre on the 2001 album, or did you expect more?
No, I'm satisfied with it because it's always quality over quantity. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you overdo it, it'd be like, oh man, like people be forgetting about songs. So I think what they did was legendary. You know what I mean? And we talking about where Dre was already jumping into being an entrepreneur before Snoop. So both of them are in situations where they both are entrepreneurs. So I feel like salute, much love and respect there. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like they carrying it how they supposed to, man. You know what I mean? I don't think that they should have overdid it.
No, you see, Jay Sinatra, that's what I'm saying. With the first Aftermath album and then Snoop going to No Limit, that was on fire. I thought like Snoop repairing with Dr. Dre would have been easily the hottest thing in hip hop. But like Twiz said, it's about quality over quantity. And kind of what I'm expecting as a fan, I don't know if you've all like, you could probably see it. I would have liked to have seen more material from Dre and Snoop, more like Max B and French Montana type shit. You know what I mean? I would have just liked to seen them dudes running all over town together. You know what I mean? Like that's what I thought we was on for after seeing those guys out having the party, gin and juice, waking up 6 a.m. in the morning, making sure mom can't find out what happened at the crib. I wanted to see more of that story.
Yeah, the thing was, business style relationships and that whole death row situation, we all seen how it transpired and what happened after that. Even at the Pac dying, the confusion of everything, people trying to get their money, and all that, and trying to find new situations, reinvent this. So it's like it was a lot back then. It was a lot. It was definitely hard, and everybody had to figure out what was they gonna do. At one point you had Corrupt as the president, then he left, and
Corrupt. Then one thing we gotta remember also about Dre. First and foremost, he was with NWA. You don't see him pushing out songs with Ice Cube and things of that. You know what I mean?
Whoa, Twiz. I gotta correct you, man. First, he was not with NWA.
World Class Wrecking Crew.
First, he was with the World Class Wrecking Crew, which I liken myself to. I'm at the World Class Wrecking Crew portion of my career. And everybody in here, you are watching the Hip Hop Guys.
Facts.
That's right. We are the Hip Hop Guys. And Bonds, you're creating a shirt for us pretty soon. So we're going to be wearing it. Everybody's going to be able to grab our new Hip Hop Guys shirt. But yeah, no, I'm just saying, Twiz, you can go on, bro. I just had to say that.
Yeah, because facts. No, that's Twiz, a fact. But I see what you were saying with the NWA. My bad. Go ahead.
NWA is when he became important to the whole world. We talking about a West Coast rapper where you had people like on the East Coast really like getting, where the world got gravitated to the West Coast lifestyle, their music and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that was just something I wanted to throw out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It definitely was. You on point, and I want to mention that Dr. Dre, he was the producer, beat maker, along with DJ Yellow, but he was the main one, and also bringing the DOC along. So before Snoop, it was the DOC. Before Eazy-E, it was the DOC, because Ice Cube was writing easy raps, and the DOC came, and that was Dre folks. So it was supposed to be Dre was really linking with DOC, dropped the formula, and then DOC dropped the banging album. Unfortunately, and shout out to DOC, man, hip hop legend. Unfortunately, he got into the car accident and damaged his throat, so his voice was messed up. And Dre still showed the love and always kept him around, even putting him on the Chronic album, on the skits and all that, so he can get paid off that. So really, before Snoop and I can't even say Eazy-E because, like I said, Cube was writing easy rhymes. It was DOC and Dre, Doc and the Doctor.
Facts.
Interesting point right there. So
Twiz, I didn't know that.
Twiz said that he was satisfied, Bonds. Obviously, I mean, I'm glad we got Twiz here. He's the level-headed guy on the show. He can come right out. He come right out and say he's satisfied with what he got. Obviously, I know there's more out there. You know what I mean? There's just so much more material out there, Bonds. As an artist, you got to know that. Right. But are you satisfied with what they put out? I mean, you did point out, still Dre probably is their new school classic of all classics.
Yeah. Right now, what would you expect from them? Like, I know Dre still got it. Snoop still got the swag and all that. I think they can still, but
Snoop, of course, Snoop's got the swag. He's on you be looking behind you. There's a truck going by, and Snoop's face is on it. You know what I mean?
Nah, Snoop is a big brand right now at this point. So I'm satisfied. I could say that too. You can't capture lightning in a bottle twice.
Facts.
Exactly.
Rosewood, do you ever think they'll put out the old material? Perhaps is there any chance that they could put out a 10-song collection of unreleased Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, or are we?
No, that would be lit. That would be lit.
No, we definitely not past that. And in fact, Twiz, that would definitely be lit. And that's something I think they would have a tour, all that, because just the nostalgia, just because we never, it's tracks we never heard, and say they put it together with the tracks they already did that we love, that would be something crazy. And I think for real, Dr. Dre and Snoop, if they both had the time to really put a proper album together, bring that old sound, bring Warren G in there, bring Daz in there, even bring RBX in there, just for input and just to make a real like how the Wu-Tang came and made the Wu-Tang Forever, album, how they brought everybody back, even though they wasn't seeing eye to eye. If Dr. Dre can bring something back like that and then make a Chronic John up to date, I think it would really be dope. I think they can pull that off. But I think it's just depending on the artist dropping egos and finding time out their schedule to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
The Silverback, appreciate you for tapping in. I appreciate you for being a member
Silverback.
of the channel as well. Definitely going to be putting up new member content. Sometimes you get exclusive little clips that I don't release from the interview on there. But he says, guys, could you imagine Dre and Master P? My goodness.
I said that earlier.
I think at that point when Dr. Dre moved on from Suge, he was sort of done playing second fiddle to the rapper, like Eazy-E, like Master P. Rosewood, you want to take that a little bit?
Yeah, that's a good point right there, Mikey T. Because I said that earlier. Shout out Silverback, for your comment, bro. Because I said the same thing earlier. I was like, dag, I wanted to hear Dre and Snoop with Snoop on No Limit, production wise. And then I was like, dag, imagine Master P or a certain No Limit artist with a Dr. Dre beat. I'm like, that sonically would have been crazy right there. So, it definitely wasn't going to be possible because, like I said, Dre was he had too much really building Aftermath and, building that sound and dropping that Chronic 2001 project. Because basically, like Bond said, you don't capture lightning in the bottle twice, but he kind of did it. He had the Chronic. It doesn't match up to the first album, but to come with a second John and it to be, sonically great and a great album, Dr. Dre shows you why he's a genius with that right there. So he didn't have time really to deal with the No Limit situation or even Snoop at the time. Because he had that whole Aftermath situation jumping off. Aftermath just probably got the money from Jimmy, so you got to make every penny count.
All right. Iceberg agrees with me. He's like, we got one song during the No Limit era titled Just Dippin'. Man, that sounds like a cool song.
Unacceptable. They on it together? They both rapping on it or Dre produced it? Iceberg?
I was just dipping.
Salute, Iceberg. Were they on there together rapping? Or did Dre do the production?
He said, I'm with Mikey on this. I wanted more Dre and Snoop. Well, they both went on to become such major entities in the game, Bonds, let me ask you, man. Just X videos. Nice tie and all that, my dude. He's got the shades there and everything. I was thinking about getting a pair of shades today. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, Bonds. Snoop is trying to buy Death Row. Let's talk about it, man. Any point to buying Death Row? Could Death Row be a success under Snoop? And isn't Snoop working with Def Jam? Didn't he just bring Benny the Butcher over?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's probably more significant reasons why he would want to buy and own. You know what I'm saying? Name Death Row. And plus, if anything, if anybody could bring it back to life, it would be Snoop Dogg. Like, so he could buy that. It could be a financial reason too, because if he do that and do the right thing,
what? Releasing the Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg the Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg unreleased Chronic 2 album or something, the unreleased Doggy Style 2 album.
That would be great. That would be great.
Leland says, I don't think that shit would sell.
I agree.
Twiz, you don't say you say you don't think it'll sell?
No, before I would do that, I would reach out to whatever bases I need to. He better off doing the Death Row story. You know what I mean? He better off turning that to a series, straight Death Row. You know what I mean? I feel like he would monopolize more off of that and try to bring that back.
Listen to where I'm going with this, though, you guys. The material that Dr. Dre had with Snoop Dogg for his second album, Snoop Dogg's second album, which was The Dogfather. Maybe there's more. Maybe they could redo that album. They could redo that album as if it was him and Dre actually having done it.
But it's a new fan base of hip hop nowadays. How many people really gonna care about it? You know what I mean?
Right. I think if Snoop is going to acquire Death Row, I think it's a high probability of him doing that. And at the same time, I think it will be a smart move because, like I think Twiz said, or you said, he would be a great ambassador to bring that back because Snoop is Death Row for real, for real. And his marketability now, especially the way it is now, he's going to market that all day, and that's going, merch, and I think definitely a series or a movie, but he really can capitalize more with the money and bring the money to him and really get paid off of it now. Just like Puff brought Sean John back. So it's the same thing. Hasbro owns Death Row right now. So I think, they'll cut a check. They'll cut a check with Snoop to get it.
That's an interesting concept, but Twiz, the Death Row movie, if Snoop acquires the rights to Death Row, is the Death Row movie a different movie than the Suge Knight movie? You see, because Suge Knight, what is Suge Knight's movie going to be then? Like if Snoop goes and gets the Death Row movie, isn't Suge Knight's movie going to be the Death Row movie?
Well, that's why it would have to be a Death Row series. It would have to be all the artists before Death Row, even to the point where like Pac before being a Death Row, Snoop before coming to Death Row. It could be more detailed, all the way up to the point where Suge even got locked up. They can stretch it out as far as that.
Right, it's two different. Suge would be the start of Death Row. With the Larry O and all that lawyer with all that.
With the Harry.
Different story. Harry. Right, Harry O. My bad. Harry O. And
that was just because you're recovering, right?
Definitely. I've seen the story a bunch of times.
Right.
I don't know Harry O personally, but I've definitely seen that story a bunch of times.
Yeah, because you would definitely have, not to cut you off, you would definitely have to add that in there, and his wife Lydia Harris, because she was doing a lot of the stuff, for him out here dealing with Suge until they said Suge stop answering the phone.
And they had the lawyer dude too,
David Kenner,
right?
So,
do you guys look at it like this? Jason Sinatra says, I look at it like The Chronic is their first album and Doggy Style is their second. So we got two. Rosewood, do you look at it like that?
Nah, because The Chronic is Dr. Dre's solo album, and Doggy Style is Snoop's solo album. That's how we look at it. It's just building up to what was going to be great. So that's why I wish the Doggy Style 2, because we thought Doggy Style 2 was going to be crazy. Thought The Chronic 2 was going to be crazy. And then you got Tupac over there. We were supposed to get so much music.
You thought it was going to be called Doggy Style 2?
Nah, it wouldn't probably been that, but I'm talking about the second album from Snoop on Death Row.
Dogfather, right? The Dogfather.
Was that going to be even if he was still on Death Row, would that be the name of the album?
That's his Death Row second album, The Dogfather. It came out 3 years later.
Okay, so that still would have been all right. So The Dogfather, we thinking that was going to be Doggy Style, basically 2.0, Doggy Style on steroids. Because we like, all right, we see the formula with the first album. What's this album going to be? What's the production from Daz and more production for Dr. Dre? But we didn't get that.
All right. Slim Shady and D12. Yep. Eminem comes over to Interscope, sells a ton of records, signs his group, D12, to the label as well, who sell a ton of records 2 times around between Devil's Night, I think it was called, and D12 World. Bonds, I'm going to ask both of you guys. Bonds, how was D12 working in New York?
I can't know who they were. No, I mean, we knew who they was, of course. Everybody knows who D12 is. I don't know nobody.
2004 was their first album.
Yeah, what Devil's Night or something like that?
Yep. And then their second hold on. Their second album was 2004, Devil's D12 World, and their first one was 2001. So they had two different album releases. Now I know a lot of the G Unit guys were touring with D12, so they respected Proof and they respected a lot of the guys. Did you hear any stories, or what was the Queen's thoughts of D12?
Actually, the dude Bizarre from D12. Remember, I was telling you about my man Scarchild, the one that introduced me to Stack Bundles too, and all that from Rockaway. He actually had a situation with Bizarre. Like Bizarre actually, because like I mean, I'm trying to figure what year was this, and I think this was right around that time too, because this was actually this was like when he started dealing with Bizarre. This was probably like 07, 08 maybe. So that was a little bit after that. I don't know. You know, I think I personally I thought the dude Obi Trice was alright at one point.
He was not in D12, man.
Nah, but he was, he was his man. D12, the group, you know what I'm saying?
All right, I respect Rosewood, what was Philly's thoughts on D12?
It's similar to Bonds. We knew about him, but it's nobody we was really banging. You know,
did D12 come out to Philly and sell out the TLA?
Man, we ain't listening to that, man.
No.
I mean, if we saw a D12 album, no disrespect, but it was a weed plate. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
That's the hood blogger. That's the hood blogger.
I'm just keeping it a snack. Yeah.
For real. We wasn't watching when Purple Hills came on BET. I'm changing the channel. So I'm cool on that.
That's a fact. The Obi Trice, I
like Obi Trice though. No, facts, Mons. I like Obi Trice.
Obi Trice is not in D12, you guys.
I know, we know he's not in D12, but
he's an Eminem artist. Man.
He was an Eminem artist, but I think he was better than D12.
He has nothing to do with D12, other than he signed to the same label and he's from the same state.
When he signed him all at the same time. He wasn't down with D12.
Nah,
he wasn't on them. He ain't come out around the same time as them.
Obi Trice's album came out in 2005.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, it came out in 2003. His second album came out in 2005.
Oh, so he came out before D12?
Nah, he came out after their first album. Because D12 actually put out an album in 2001 and then their follow-up album in 2004. And I will tell you guys, D12's second album was more successful than any Obi Trice album.
Yeah, but you know why though? I was Eminem.
Whoa, man. I respect Bizarre. Proof. Rest in peace. Bizarre, one of the most interesting artists.
Yeah, shout out to Bizarre.
I think Bizarre should have got a deal with Interscope and released his album with Eminem, but it's just me.
Yeah.
I thought he should have got more of a deal like that, man. So what do you guys think? What's your opinion? You guys interested in seeing the Suge Knight film? As interested as you were in seeing, how do we gauge it? What's everybody's interest level in seeing the Suge Knight movie? Are you as interested as you were in Straight Outta Compton, or are you more interested along the lines of the TLC movie? Rosewood, because I don't want to say this wrong. Antoine Fuqua, who directed Training Day, actually did a documentary on Suge Knight. Yeah, that I watched not too long ago. It was a 2018 film. But how excited are you guys? Like, I want you to just put a gauge on it. Like, is it Straight Outta Compton level, or is it more like one of those Lifetime TV movie? Like, You know what I mean? Is it like the new edition? Is it like, you know what I'm saying? Is it like
Nah, I go to the theater and see it. I go to the theater to see the show. I go to the theater.
You're gonna go to the theater and see the Suge Knight movie, Bonds?
I would, yeah.
So you went to the theater, you saw All Eyes on Me.
Damn, I don't even remember that.
Did you go to the theaters and see Notorious?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Definitely, I did too.
Did you go to the theaters and see Get Rich or Die Trying?
Come on, man. Southside, man. Stop playing,
Yeah.
man.
Well, not enough. Well, not
With the
enough.
movies,
Twice,
saw
man.
that too. Yeah.
Well, not enough of you guys showed up. The movie tanked.
Still,
You know they be hating
it
on
was a hood classic.
Tanked.
It was a hood classic, man. It was a hood classic.
conspiracy.
Fine. Yo, Twiz. Get Rich or Die Trying is a hood classic.
Yeah, it is. That's a hood. Yeah, it's a hood classic. Get Rich or Die
Hood
Trying.
classic.
That is
How
a
the
hood.
hell is Get Rich or Die Trying a hood classic?
All the rappers'
It
biopics,
is.
bro. Good classics.
It is considered a hood classic. Definitely.
Notorious is not a classic.
No, Notorious is trash.
good
But
movie.
Get Rich or Die Trying.
Notorious a good movie, but it ain't no hood classic though.
Yeah, right.
Bonds, did you watch 8 Mile in theaters?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You crazy?
That movie made major bank.
Nah, of course, man.
I
What
watched
you
8
know?
Mile on bootleg.
So the 8
In
You
my
gotta
Mile,
look
man's
at
Tahoe.
Two Rosewood.
Yeah.
guys, 8 Mile went to number 1 and made $51 million opening weekend.
Yeah, that joint was. And what was so heavy about it, and this was before the internet ever was, what it is today. When we was finding out that was such a beef that he wrote everybody verses even on the battle. It's like, oh man, you serious, bro? Like the
Right.
energy on that joint was heavy.
Mhm.
Yo, Get Rich or Die Trying made 12 million opening weekend and 46 million overall. So it didn't even make overall in the United States. I'm hoping these numbers are what 8 Mile did in its opening weekend.
That's
But let me point out that Louis Peasy, before you say that, Twiz, says 8 Mile was not a hood classic.
It's not really. And I just want to say before we go into that most of the hood classics don't sell.
These are Hollywood productions.
That's what I was
Most of the
about to
hood
say,
classics
Rosewood.
don't sell.
That's
know,
why they hood classics.
Look at Paper Soldiers with Kevin Hart and Siegel. That's not a box office hit. Hood classic. Some Jones that just said CB4. Shotters. Yeah. What paid in full?
Belly.
They not box office hits, but the hood class, and that's what make them hood classics.
Blue Hill Ave.
Blue Hill Ave.
Jay Sinatra says another point of marketing, as you were alluding to, Bonds. Jay Sinatra says if Snoop gets Death Row, that's going to be the hottest chain on the market. Everybody wearing Death Row chains again. If Snoop Dogg is if Snoop Dogg is doing his Corona thing, but with Death Row.
Yep. Yeah. And the whole thing is,
I mean the beer, you guys. Bonds, chill out. I mean Corona beer, man. Bonds be getting out too much. Bonds has kids. Bonds be going to all types of events. I seen. What was you at in a museum last week, Bonds?
Yeah, I was in the State Farm Arena. That was the last place I was at too, man. They threw a Christmas party for the members.
Well, yeah, you got to do things, that people naturally do. You don't want to be taking yourself too much out of what natural life is, man.
Killer Season 2. Somebody said Killer Season, another hood classic. Now, Mike and T, I got a question. I got a question for you. Now, if Snoop does take on that venture with Death Row, if Snoop does acquire Death Row and he start doing things, do you think he will start signing artists to Death Row?
I mean, I think it's going to be more like what Twiz was saying. Like, it's going to be more like He's going to use it for a television show. Some of the people in the chat were saying that he's going to be able to sell T-shirts again. He's going to be able to, you know what I mean? He could probably sell the jumpsuits. I don't know. People probably wear jumpsuits a lot. I mean, they were wearing jumpsuits all over the Eminem and, Up in Smoke tour. Eminem's performance was heavily based on jumpsuits. So they could market that, the chains, which they could do a low-end chain, for the everyday person. But then you could also do the high-end chain. I don't know what I don't know what Snoop Dogg is doing in terms of record labels, man. Like, he's never really this is new to me, hearing that he's executive over at Def Jam now. Interesting that he's brought Benny the Butcher over.
Yeah. So with that move right there, it's a possibility he could have, certain artists under there. It might not even signing them, maybe putting them in positions like he did with Benny, and then he's gonna give you a Death Row chain, like that. Like, I could see Benny the Butcher rocking a Death Row chain because Snoop gave him the alley-oop.
No. Look, yo, if I don't think Snoop Dogg, unless I haven't read an article that somebody's up to date on, I don't think Snoop Dogg is actually going to own Death Row. But
that's a hypothetical.
That's a good point, because all he has to do is throw a Death Row chain on Benny the Butcher, and it's out there. Like, I remember Rick Ross went to this WWE event and he put an MMG chain on that wrestler named Enzo. I don't know if you guys had ever heard of him, but he was really popular in pop culture as well as wrestling. He put an MMG chain on this guy who was coming out in front of 1 million, 2 million people every week. It's just great marketing. So Snoop Dogg and Benny having a relationship, put the chain on Benny, have him marketed on Instagram, and that chain is, Death Row is back in a positive space.
Yeah. And definitely dealing with Benny the Butcher, and because that whole fan base, you got a lot of real hip hop heads, a lot of OGs that listen to them. So to see that and to bring that back, nostalgia, and to know him and Snoop is working together and is genuine or whatever, like you said, is back.
Hold on, you guys don't know who Enzo is, though?
I heard it. I heard that name, Enzo. I don't watch wrestling, but I heard it.
He had a rap career. He started his rap career too. He was messing with.
Okay, nah. Man, I heard him for wrestling. I didn't know he did rap or anything like that.
No, he had a bunch of music videos on World Star, man. He had a bunch of music videos on World Star. He was doing his thing.
I don't watch World Star.
You don't watch wrestling. You don't watch World Star.
Huh?
You don't watch wrestling. You don't watch World Star, but you want to go see the Suge Knight movie in theaters.
I ain't watched World Star in 88 years.
You got it. You pretty much got it.
People used to think I owned World Star for some reason.
What?
Yeah, they would just come up to me and they'd be like, "Yo, Mikey T, the movie star, you own World Star?"
All right.
Like, yeah, man.
How do you how do you just think that? Like,
because they say the movie star, and then they look at World Star.
People don't listen.
Interesting though, how that makes people, because people always say they be knowing about my shit and shit like that. So,
but before we didn't know who ran World Star for a little minute.
You was on it every week for months. Yeah, Louis Peasy. And another thing, what Rosewood is saying, they didn't know who ran it. Nobody knew really who Q was for a while.
Oh, wow.
It's, people are just like, oh, shit, there's a white boy on World Star doing his thing. He must own the shit. Because at first I did an interview on there where I was sitting with Freaky Zeke. We were sitting together for an interview, but then all my interviews would be artists in front of the camera and shit. So it was like I kind of like stepped up, you know what I mean? I got turned into like an executive.
Right.
That's dope.
I thought Mikey owned Hip Hop Game back then too. What? That's because I dominated those hip hop websites. Probably.
You was around. That's what I'm saying, Mikey T. I told you before. I was like, yo, there was a lot of your joints that really took us to those artists and let us know the artists what they was doing and let us know they was still around maneuvering and really getting the right questions and the right answers from them so we know what's going on. And it was just your content was around.
I heard your name too.
What'd you say, Bonds?
I said I heard your name. I told you I was familiar with the name. Like, you know what I mean, I heard the name.
Your name.
I couldn't put a face to it, didn't know your face, but I knew your name. So,
well, how many times did you hear the name though?
I knew your name from. I can't even remember. That's why it probably was more than something. I probably seen it more than one interview or something. You probably in it. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, in those times, like it was a lot of people, certain people doing interviews, but you know, I was kind of familiar with a lot of those publications. But you know, as time transpired, everybody, you know, the people that's still doing their thing, you know what I'm saying? You see the, you know, them changing in the platform or whatever.
Because that's one thing I was doing. I was just trying to make sure I was consistently, like every single week, 52 weeks a year, even sometimes maybe 2 or 3 times a week, just having new shit up. But what was you giving? You was giving interviews to like the DVDs, or you had a DVD or something? Nah, I did not have a DVD. At one point,
I thought you did. I thought you had a DVD.
At one point, Lazy K and all them had hollered at me about a DVD, a couple different things, but I never ended up signing anything. I always just stayed independent. You know what I mean? But so the DMV was not really bumping D12. Well, I mean, guys, D12 moved millions of units. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to say like I picture Twiz listening to my band, you know, when he gets off the show. I don't see that. You know, I don't see Rosewood after he gets off the show. He ain't turning on Purple Pills. No. You know what I mean? But Bonds probably is going to be listening to some Bizarre later. 40 ounce, bitch, with the 40 ounce.
I don't know any Bizarre singles. So I'm saluting to Bizarre, man.
I know Bizarre got albums out, but I mean that wasn't our flavor.
Hold
man.
on, what do you mean? You don't remember the Bizarre song Rosewood that goes, "I wanna be just like you when I grow up. I wanna be just like you." Bizarre comes on, he's like, "You don't want to be just like your daddy, out pimping hoes and jumping out of caddies."
That wasn't our shot here in the city, man. That wasn't
the shit, man.
We had a lot other better music in the city to listen to.
We still had Sieg and them out here smoking stuff.
Yep.
He had Roscoe P. Cold Chain.
Yes.
Free Roscoe, too, man. Free Roscoe.
Free Roscoe, man.
P. Cool Chain, man. Free brother Roscoe P. Cool Chain, man.
I was just looking at Roscoe online the other day, man.
Yeah, he's solid, man.
Solid dude, sturdy dude, man.
How they got my boy down like that? How that happened to him like that?
He went down. He down for a double homicide right now. He's supposed to be trying to get an appeal. He got tied up in the double homicide out Frankfurt area, out Philly and everything. You know what I mean? But he trying to get an appeal right now. So God's willing that work out for him.
Facts. Inshallah.
Freddie, no, we do. So did you see that comment?
Who is he talking about?
It's that Suge Knight.
What do you mean, Bonds? Who is he talking about?
No, is he saying what is he talking about? Is that Suge Knight?
Who the hell do you think he's talking about, man? The only one on the hip hop guys that looks like Suge Knight.
I don't know who he talking about.
What other host on the Hip Hop Guys podcast looks like Suge Knight?
You know, Rosewood.
When I be rocking the ball, that's what they be saying.
Yeah, Rosewood got the baldy and all that. You talking about Rosewood?
They got the Scully on now, so
I don't know.
When I got my shades on and the baldy, that's all they be saying. I be mad.
What's up, bro?
I said no name. So he got the pull. Hold up. Why you take his picture off that fast though, Mikey?
I didn't. It was up there for a minute.
He got the pork chop on his joint. He got the big chop.
I saw.
He got the big chop on his shit.
Hold on, where was that? I don't even. Did he delete his
big chop?
Listen, we will get on your picture. See, they don't know. Listen, we'll get on your picture.
You should cook that pork chop. You talking about?
Rosewood.
Rosewood
chop. I'm gonna have to start calling Rosewood the Suge Knight of the podcast.
Oh, too many people already be saying that, man. I don't like that job, man.
I never saw it before our episode tonight, man.
No, I'm saying in the real world, man.
Yeah, Rosewood out there connecting the dots like Suge Knight. He keeps it positive.
Rosewood, is this true?
Who is man?
Davian Darnell Sr. says Rosewood was locked up with my mans.
Who is man?
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm high as hell. I thought he said Rosewood was locked up with my moms. I thought Yogi was saying Rosewood was beating cheeks.
No. Who your folks?
He's like, Mom! He's like, you in there with Rosewood? I've been watching on the podcast. I've been watching Rosewood on the podcast, Mom.
No, this has to be way before.
Like, is that shit night there, Mom?
I mean, on there. Because they don't have the women and the men together for what, and this had to be way before that. So I don't know who his folks is. You gotta tell me who his folks is.
The Hood loves 8 Mile. Bonds?
Yeah, I love 8 Mile. I gotta say, I can agree with that. The Hood love 8 Mile.
Yeah.
I gotta agree with that.
Liz, now we're not talking D12. You already made it perfectly clear what Philly thought of D12. 8 Mile now. 50 million opening weekend. Like I said, I don't really look at Get Rich. I don't look at Straight Outta Compton. I don't look at 8 Mile as hood classics. I look at them as Hollywood productions. But how was 8 Mile thought of? Was Philly packing them theaters?
I don't know about packing the theaters, but we was lining up for the Aki, you know what I mean, for them 5 for 20s like Rosewood talk about. So, like, it was real heavy with that. Was like the bootleg era and all that, you know what I mean? But 8 Mile was a trending topic, and we loved it, man. You know, I definitely loved it. You know what I'm saying? It was a different story because it was like his life, you know what I mean? It was so believable, and knowing the type of person that is, it gave us a different perspective on him to really see what, because you know we all remember the original Slim Shady, the hi, my name is, you know what I mean? We remember that, and then we seen how his music elevated, and we saw him be able to get on tracks with people like Jay-Z and walk him down, you know what I mean? So him dropping that movie, it was like, whoa, like, you know, I'm different. You know, the streets love him, man. It'd be a few people that might criticize him, but in my book, you know, I'm solidified, man.
Light Skin Rory says Rosewood smothered.
Oh, they trying to throw shots.
Light skin, don't start. Don't start. See, they must be, hold on, Twiz. They must be New Jacks before you even came on.
No, bro.
They already know how I would. Don't get me started, bro.
They love
give you a pass, homie. You better go ahead. You look like you wearing a Christmas tree on that shirt. That shirt look like a Christmas tree. Yeah, Christmas tree shirt. He must have that biting his
lip.
Party, homie.
Biting his lip off in that picture like that, man.
Right.
That is you in the background.
Hell no, that's somebody else got him squeezing his cheeks and biting his lip like that.
Bro got the oldest, youngest face in history.
Thanks.
He got an old, young face.
Young old J. That's young old J.
I'm trying to figure who he look like too right now.
So hold on, Rosewood. Based off of what Twiz was just saying, you know, Eminem coming in with the "Hi, my name is," that whole get up, you know, going on MTV. I don't know if you saw him on MTV wearing like the shirt and the tie and walking up to people with the microphone and being like, "Hi, I'm Eminem."
On TRL.
Yeah, stuff like that. But did that throw you off when you saw Eminem in 8 Mile as this vicious battle rapper who comes in 1 Pac, 2 Pac, 3 Pac, 4 Pac, 3 Pac, 2 Pac, 1, your Pac, he's Pac, their Pac, none. Some shit like that.
No, because we see that's being a hip hop head, listening to underground music, especially backpack music back then. And shout out to Cosmic Kev. The Come Up Show used to be called Radioactive, and even in the early days of the Come Up Show, they played all underground hip hop. So they definitely would play Eminem. Eminem was one of those people that they would play on there. So we were able to hear his underground, mixtape, his first mixtape, cuts off that, or freestyles on the Stretcher Ball Beto show, stuff like that. So when he came out with the movie, it was like Twitter said, it was definitely like, yo, a trending topic. Like everybody like, yo, we want to see what Eminem coming out with a battle movie. And we're like, oh, that's where he come from. So we like, it's interesting to see how he gonna do this. And he put it together very, very well. Put it together very, very well. It's definitely a classic, a hip hop classic. Like you said, a major Hollywood hip hop classic.
It's and you know what? And one thing I gotta add on, you want to know what made the movie so crazy? That even at the end, it ain't like at the end he got to deal with something. It was just trials and tribulations through the whole thing, bro. Like he was dealing with issues where it was like, I mean, it struggles with everybody all around the world. You know what I mean? So it was just an eye opener to the world, and I would love to see him in more acting scenes. You know what I mean? He's like he the jack of all trades, man. So salute to him. But it was definitely impactful.
Eminem was rumored to be in that boxing movie Southpaw for many years. He was attached to it, and 50 Cent actually played in it as well. Did any of you guys end up seeing Southpaw?
I saw it. Yeah, I saw Southpaw.
I didn't get a chance to see it.
You might want to check that out, man. 50's character is pretty interesting in that. Remember Rosewood, how sort of like he kind of tricks Jake Gyllenhaal into taking the fights.
Right. He
same storyline. It would have been the same storyline if Eminem would have played it.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Well, yeah, depending on it, that would have been his character. But, he definitely was attached to that movie for a long time. And, for whatever reason, they said Eminem turns down a lot of movie roles, so with him being in BMF just now, they said that was like real important because he don't really do movie roles.
Well, Rosewood, he does things that he can complete in a small amount of time. When he did 8 Mile, he probably had to remain on set for 30 days, 21 days, But when he went and did the movie The Interview, I don't know if you guys saw The Interview, but he was in the first 5 minutes of you never saw that? I'm going to send you a link right after this.
Yeah, I got to see, he was in The Wash. He was in The Wash before that, and he basically did, he was on the phone, and then he did a small part in that. So that goes back to what you're saying. He takes the roles where it's not going to take up all his time.
Well, this is only about a 5 or 6 minute of the movie. I'm going to send it to you. You got to see it. It's the most hilarious thing you'll ever see Eminem do.
Okay.
That's what makes him so unique, because I feel like he can be a serious actor, or he could be he can do the comedy thing too. I feel like he would succeed in both roles. You can put him on a kid movie, you know what I mean? And I feel like he going to do this thing on there.
Guys, so this is for everybody in the chat. Plus, so everybody, we're doing open questions right now. Anybody got questions, send in a super chat. Every super chat's appreciated. But let's take it around. And plus, I want the chat to answer this. We're going to rate 8 Mile versus Get Rich or Die Trying, but we're going to do scales as well, 1 to 10. Obviously, I'm going to have to say 8 Mile was better than Get Rich or Die Trying. I just don't think they really took enough time with Get Rich or Die Trying. I didn't really like where the story went. And one thing I also want to bring up, like the end of 8 Mile, like all those battles, it got you so hype. Why didn't it work with Get Rich? What did you guys think? Twiz, I'll go to you first. the end of Get Rich when I believe 50's going out to perform, and then he has Terrence Howard cap the dude just Majestic. That's what happens, right? They cap Majestic right before performing. Was that less than believable? What was it?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing about the movie Get Rich or Die Trying, I feel like 50 did that more from the muscle. I feel like he could have had more professional help with it. It was like a low-rate film, how it was shot and everything. It could have been energy added to it. It has its pros and cons. But I feel like it was overall good, too, because if you look at it, that was kind of based upon his life, too. He really got shot up. He really had to recover. He really was in the streets and really trying to get into music. So, it just depends on how you look at the movie. And I also feel like it's going to always be spunk added to the movie. We know what happened with 50 Mom. You know what I mean? We know that story. So it's like somebody writing a book about something and they put their own twists and turns on it. So I feel like if we would have had more professional help and better camera work, if it looked more cinematic, then it probably could have elevated more. But he was getting his feet wet, so for that I would give it an 8.
You're gonna give Get Rich or Die Trying an 8?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8, just on the storyline, and it was kind of like with them hustling and him going to the car lot and getting his the energy when he had got the car and everything is similar to the energy on Menace to Society when he had went and robbed the boy at the drive-thru and got them rims and was driving, because these are dreams that people have in the streets. You want to, get that money and get that foreign car and everything is all right, and things crash. So it's like, I like the storyline on it. It could have been better, but he did what he could have did at that time. So I'll get at an 8.
And what are you gonna give 8 Mile?
I'll give 8 Mile a 10 because the first time I saw 8 Mile, I watched it again, then I watched it again, I watched it again. Like it was just to the point where I could say around that time I could do the whole battle by myself for everyone. And it's like, even to the point where he was choking and everything, and then he came back and was like, what more do you want from me? You know what I'm saying? It's everything. Y'all did this to me. Yeah, like
F Lotto. I'll get $1 from your mama tomorrow, or something like that.
Exactly. Like the energy from the crowd and everything. It was just it was well anticipated. I give 8 Mile a 10 because I never saw that done before.
That's dope. That's dope. I like it. Twiz. All right. So Twiz gives 8 Mile a 10, and he gives Get Rich or Die Trying an 8, obviously putting his pick at 8 Mile. We want to know in the chat, what do you think? What do you think about this? Who had the better film, and what was your ratings? Next, I'm going to bring it over to Bonds. Bonds, 8 Mile, Get Rich or Die Trying. What were your ratings? 1 out of 10. Iceberg, one of our moderators, is asking, and I'm going to be reading the chat next.
I'm gonna give I'll give 8 Mile a 10 for sure, because it was a very inspirational movie, and it was a well put together story. You know what I'm saying? So I give it. That's what we look for movies for. You know what I mean? Entertainment, motivation, crossed all the lines. So I give it a 10. And Get Rich or Die Trying didn't. I might have to get it like a 6, 7 maybe, just because I'm taking a lot from it because of the validity of the story. Like, I'm from the South Side, so that the look and everything of it, I didn't feel like I was watching a South Side Story 1, and then I don't feel like the story was, that good. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It wasn't much motivation I could draw from it. So 6, 7, 6.
All right, so Bonds puts 8 Mile above it. Like I said, I don't really think that's going to be the question. I think you can tell with the box office, the reception. Now 50 Cent in Get Rich or Die Trying, I'm going to have to personally give that movie about a 6, maybe even a 5 average. Like, I really have been more of a fan. All of his other movies outside of Get Rich or Die Trying are like 3s and 4s, just to be 100% honest with you. Maybe with the exception of Home of the Brave, where it was scattered stories, where he played a guy in the military. Other than that,
Things Fall Apart.
Things Fall Apart, exactly. Another 3.5.
Things Fall Apart was fire.
Yeah, Things Fall Apart was all right.
Things Fall Apart, where he played the guy that was going through the cancer.
With the cancer. Yeah,
that was.
I get out. Get Rich or Die Trying the same score.
I don't know about that, you guys.
That was a good movie.
I'm pretty sure I watched that. That was a Lifetime. That was like a Lifetime movie.
It was a real life movie. That's what make it look good. It's like
50 was trying too hard, you guys. The guy went and got Bruce Willis he went and got Nick Cage and John Cusack to be in one movie, and then the budget of the movie was $5-6 million. Like, are you kidding me? How are you gonna go get Bruce Willis and then the movie has no action involving Bruce Willis in it? Like,
he took the budget, bro.
Like,
Bruce
maybe
Willis took the whole budget.
Maybe I'm pretty sure I watched Things Falls Apart. He's playing football. His outfits were terrible. The outfits were terrible in that movie.
True story, I think. True.
Doesn't matter if it's a true story, man. Well, it doesn't matter. Wasn't the President's a true story?
But to me that storyline was better than 8 Mile and Get Rich or Die Trying. That storyline was crazy, man. Like the storyline was heavy. We talking about somebody that was talented, that had people trying to recruit him. He didn't get shot. He didn't get locked up. No, he dealt with cancer, an everyday issue that can stop anybody's life. And for him to drop weight like that, he really went out his way to drop weight and really look. Whoa! That joint was crazy.
Yo, Twiz, that was cliche as hell. Him dropping all that weight for that movie. He tried extra hard for that.
I look at it. He's dedicated.
No, man, that was cliche, Rosewood.
No, it wasn't
trying too hard.
No, it wasn't because half of the actors wouldn't have dropped weight that far. He really looks sick.
Right, hold on.
They would have just used makeup and.
Haven't you ever heard of Christian Bale from Batman? Haven't you ever heard of the movie he did called The Machinist, where he dropped a shitload of weight?
Now the thing is, Mikey T, 50 Cent wasn't an established actor as he is now. So he's basically, finding his way through the acting thing, and he's showing that the Hollywood people like, look, I'm dedicated to this role, and then when you put me on future projects, I'll be dedicated to those roles the same way. Exactly. So I think he was just showing them that he can really do this.
Where did it get him, Rosewood? Because now he's behind the camera, executive producing all the projects.
But he could be the actors if he wanted to.
No, he could not.
Why couldn't he? In Power, he was the man.
He was in Power. He played that part well.
He got killed.
In Power, he was the man. Okay, I haven't watched Power.
Yeah, he was the man in Power. He fit the perfect. He played that perfect.
People still mad at Tyreek and everything for all of, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? It's like
he's got a lot of proving to do to me after all those B-rated movies he did.
See, but movies are different than the series now. And things are changing, so we never know how things are going to be with the movies coming up now. So we don't know.
Oh shit, Rosewood. We all right, so hold on. I was saying Get Rich or Die Trying is like 5.5, and I'm giving 8 Mile an 8.5 because it still left me wanting some things. I do remember pretty hard guy to impress when it comes to things like that, when it comes to when it comes to art, I guess. I'm always left wanting a little bit more, you know what I mean? But it was a dope soundtrack, even though that's not really what we're talking about right now, but it was a cool movie. You know, I could have maybe I guess I could have liked a few more street vibes to it, other than Eminem getting jumped that one time for beating up the manager who slept with his girlfriend. Some of those themes I thought could have been done a little bit better. But it was like 8.5. I mean, Rosewood, let me get your rating on both films.
Now for Get Rich or Die Trying, I'm gonna give that probably about a 7, maybe 7.5. I'm gonna go with a 7. And the reason why I go with a 7, and it was some of the points that Twiz made that, you know, it could have been better, you know, production, you know, better camera work. And I do believe MTV Films directed that movie. So going with them, you know, they're not going to give you the best of quality. And at the same time, it seemed like the story was rushed. You know, I kind of feel where Bonds is coming from. Because it felt like, all right, they had a story, but they kind of rushed it, you know, rushed it out there for whatever reason. Because it seemed like it was just a rush story. Maybe they could have had a better project if they took their time, but they didn't. So that's the only reason why I'll lower the score. Then with 8 Mile, I'm going to give 8 Mile a 9, you know, because 8 Mile was great on the music, the rap, you know, the story was cool and all that. Only reason why I don't give it a 10 because there was a lot of the acting that was corny in it. You could tell it was a lot of people their first time acting and stuff like that. And then, like you said, those parts of it where like the man, he beefed with the manager for messing with the girl and all that, like certain stuff like that. So those are the reasons why I give that a 9 and not a 10. And those are the reasons why I give Get Rich or Die Trying, you know, with 7, 7.5, because it's just a rush story, and you know, it's just a good story, bad movie. Could have been a way better movie.
Makai Pfeiffer Dreads could take 1 point off too. I can give it a 9.
That's why the 9. That's another reason why the 9. That too, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for 9. Dreads has gotta take a point for them shit.
Where's Twiz at, man? I got
a
Things Fall Apart review right here.
I'm right here, Mikey. I just had to grab my charger.
No, he got a review for you, Twiz. He got Things Fall Apart.
Things Fall Apart, 2011. A movie you totally wouldn't be expecting 50 Cent to do. And I'm not saying that 50 Cent should have been subjected to playing gangster roles, but I mean, this was just so cliche of 50 Cent to do. And all right, so look at this review. He said the movie plot was really good and very touching, but the acting was pretty bad. The actress that played the mother was the worst. If it wasn't for Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, I wouldn't have watched this film. Glad I did. Overall, it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was.
Overall, good movie.
Wow. Hold on. Honestly, best movie I've ever seen. Was expecting a Madeline McCain to show up halfway through. Honestly, what? I don't even know what that means. All right. The movie and the book was very similar, even though, as always, the movies left out some details from the book. All in all, the movie was very enjoyable.
I look at all aspects. Like I look at where 50 came from, and Bonds know because you know they from the same hood as the trenches. Your average rapper, let's say rapper, we ain't talking about just the actor. Your average rapper that comes up with films, everything is shoot 'em up, bang bang. Everything is street. We getting work. We robbing people.
Mm-hmm.
For him was to show that he can step out of his comfort zone, and that right there says a lot. He stepped out of his comfort zone. It's just like the other movie he did. I think it's called 7. Where I don't know if y'all saw that one. That's an underrated movie to me.
Who are you talking about?
50 did a movie. It's called 7, and what is based?
50 Cent. No, he didn't. You're 50 Cent 7 movie. I think you're.
Yeah.
Was it called 7? It was called 12, I think, bro.
12 is 7. whatever the one is where all these people they had got, they
Yes,
pretty much
yes.
like
Okay, Rosewood. I mean, Twiz. That is the only halfway decent 50 Cent movie. Are
you don't get 50 no
serious?
props.
But
That's
that
crazy.
movie is still a 4. 50 Cent
He ain't letting up for the twist.
selling drugs, having
Yeah.
sex with white women for drugs. That does not happen like that. Bonds is like, I would like to disagree.
Hey,
Twiz, that was
Is
so
that-
unrealistic the way that white
No,
girl
no.
had sex with him in that movie.
No, I think I'm thinking about a different movie. It might be a movie called Seven. The movie I'm talking about is when it was people they had got kidnapped. Like they got this series right now, and it's on Netflix. I can't think of it. It's called Something Games. It's like a movie where they like out China or Asia or something, and all these people is getting kidnapped, and it's really like a game. And
But
what it is,
but do you guys know about the movie 12 where 50 goes? He's dealing with the white guy, and he's like, "I'm gonna help make you a better drug dealer, man."
yeah, that's not the one I'm talking about.
I'm gonna
That ain't
show
the
you
one
how
I'm
to
talking
make
about.
it work. It's like, oh my god, this is so cliche. 50.
I don't know
This
if somebody
is so
can look it up.
cliche. Yo, but that was cliche. Him making a movie with white boy drug dealers. I mean, unless he hired me to be in it.
I mean,
Yeah,
somebody gave
got
him the
some
script. He took the bread. He got that. Somebody probably presented him with the script. He said,
Like-
"Look, I'm gonna take the bread. You know what
The
you offer
movie-
me? Give me that."
50 should do a new TV show about how when I was younger, it's in order for me to get weed, I would rob drug dealers. 50 should do a movie about that. You know
But
what
that's
I mean?
average stuff. That's average everyday
Right.
stuff.
Oh
True.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, he be trying to think out the box, like. But the movie up, that's not the one I'm talking about. I don't know if somebody can look it up. I believe it's called Seven, and it's crazy because
7 is with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, bro.
Right.
all right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look it up. I know the title of it is a number, but the movie it's real crazy. It's different. I have to get back with you on that one, but it's deep. But it just show you how his thought process is.
Are you talking about The Expendables?
No, the title of it is a number. It's where it's like these people in control. It's kind of how like the purge was, where like people was in control, but these people are like kidnapping citizens from off the streets.
24/7.
No, it's not 24/7.
24/7 TV series from 50 Cent starring T.I. Oh no, this is a new one. There's a new one with 50 Cent and T.I. in the works called 24/7. I'm trying to find it out right now what you're talking about.
The movie is based upon these people. They're getting all these people from around the world, and they having them locked in like this building, and they can't get out. And they give everybody numbers. Everybody got numbers around their neck. These people don't know what's going on. They got snatched from their families and everything. And you got billionaires betting on them like horses. They don't know what they about to walk into. They step in the arena and they give all of them revolvers. And they put one bullet in the gun. Everybody is in a circle and they got to point the gun to the back of their head to the person that's in front of them, and whoever lasts is win.
Is that movie called Gun?
No, it's not called Gun.
No, it's not Gun.
50 had another movie called Gun.
Yeah, it's not Gun. I know
it's
that.
Not Gun. I know
Was
the
that
title
one
of it.
good?
I didn't see that one. I know a lot of his Jones are low rate Jones.
He
but
did a bunch of cliche shit like that, man. Like, why would you name a movie Gun, bro?
He did do a bunch of corny movies, but he felt you know what they call it, his niche, his whatever you call it.
That's true, Jason. Yeah. But what about Freelancers, you guys?
I didn't see that one.
I didn't see that one.
You didn't see it, and he's got Forrest Whitaker in it.
Okay, so the Mikey, the question I got for you and everybody else: do y'all consider 50 Cent a bad actor?
Bad actor, great producer. Davon, I thought you were going to watch the $1 million worth of game interview, bro. You locked in with us. He said Gunn was fire. Thanks for pointing that out. He says Val Kilmer was in it. Why does 50 go get these dudes like Val Kilmer?
Because
And
I think he was a fan. I think he was a fan of him. 50 come from that era, late 80s movies, 90s movies, where those guys were like stars. So I think 50 is like paying his homage to them, saying like, I'm a fan of y'all or whatever. I would like to do a project with y'all. I got the script here.
Bonds, you a Val Kilmer guy?
I like that Heat movie and all that. So
yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he played Batman. 50 could say now, while 50's sitting at the table and Tony Yayo comes over to ask for his album budget, he could be like, I did a movie with Batman, motherfucker.
Sure.
Yeah,
hold on. Let me see.
Building his portfolio with them,
Right.
Appreciate it, Psych. Wow.
Shout out Twiz. Thanks for that Omar Gooding interview.
It was dope.
I appreciate it, Psych. I appreciate it. I still got a few more chunks to put out, man. I appreciate the love.
Jason Sinatra says that in Rosewood, I want you to tell me if this is accurate, in your opinion. All those low budget films got him to where he's at now.
And now, all right, before I answer that, shout out Iceberg too. Because he didn't know that MTV did Get Rich or Die Trying, MTV Films. And he said that's why it looked like a long video. And you got a point, exactly.
True.
Now, with that, yes, it goes back to what Twiz was saying. He found his niche. Because doing all those, and then I think somebody had a comment that he had to deal with Lionsgate. So 50 never, had a movie deal. He was just really going with it as he go, learning as he go, the ups and downs of the Hollywood and that's, the TV business, like just learning that. So 50 definitely got to where he's now by doing all those, say, low budget movies, because now things are really low budget now with the series. It's not a big budget movie. It's more of a low budget and it's a series. So that's right up 50 alley. He knows how to use that low budget money to get a good project out.
Twiz, is it 6 bullets
from the network?
Network money now.
I think Twiz is putting the dog.
He realized the Hollywood money, wasn't going to really benefit him as much, and I think he figured it was enough with that. Like he outgrew that, so he's like, all right, I'm not going to really blow like that. So all right, let me get this, and then it worked with Power, and now I think his ceiling is really high with the films and the TV series, even with producing stuff where he's not in. I think his ceiling is high.
So you think you think he has a chance to jump back into some films?
Yeah. I think the ceiling's high because just the wave he got off the series that he has, and I think he's going to do a movie, but it's going to have to be something like real great because the expectation is going to be so high. He kind of set his bar high now, so people are going to be looking like, oh, you should be well trained in the arts by now.
And that's true. And this is true what Jason Sinatra says, Rosewood. He helped out.
Yes.
He helped out Little Meech. Bro, when I see Little Meech log on to his Instagram live, I don't know if you be logging on with him, but he has like 4,000 or 5,000 people watching him nowadays, Rosewood.
Yeah. Definitely, man. And that's 50 giving back, man. People really don't look at 50 giving really back to the culture, and he does. He been doing it. He does it a lot. He pays homage to the people he's a fan of.
Yeah, that's interesting to see where Little Meech is going to go. 22 bullets. John Paul, I looked up to 6 bullets. I look up 22 bullets and see what's up with that. But we're coming to the end of the show now. I'm gonna type it in. Open questions. Anybody has any open questions? Hell of a topic though tonight.
Right. Dope topic. Dope.
You know, I felt this way about Dre and Snoop for a long time. You know, I was always wondering, like, what the hell's up with Dre and Snoop? Why aren't we getting a continuation of their relationship?
Right.
And just to be honest with you guys, you know, like a lot of the industry wrote off Suge Knight, you know, years ago because he would get locked up, he would come home, he would get locked up, he never got Death Row back on. Like as we talked before, he went from Interscope to Priority Records. You know, we spoke on that shit a few weeks back.
Yep.
You know,
Facts.
but I kind of you know, a lot, not just myself. I kind of wrote Suge off. All the blogs wrote Suge off, you guys, until Gilly and Wallow went and talked to him. Until you know, Antoine Fuqua, butchering his name, even though I knew how to say it before. You know, but he did some shit with Suge. I see Suge actually just sold the rights. I don't know if you guys read the report, but he actually just sold the rights for a movie to be made. We'll talk about that on another episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just an interesting topic tonight, and to hear that about Suge Knight or that about Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, because you know, I could honestly say one of your friends not doing that for you, it could make you look at him another way. I mean, like I said, I had a whole situation where my friend was 21 years old and I was 18 and I was driving and I got written up for possession of alcohol because he didn't take blame of the alcohol. And then my lawyer said, well, all he has to do is write a little letter and I'll bring it into court where he says it was his and we're good to go. And my friend was like, oh, what? Write a letter to the court? It's like, dude, you're 21. You're allowed to be in possession of that alcohol. He still wouldn't write a letter to the court. You know what I mean? People be freaked out about going inside that courts, man.
Yeah. But I didn't see that. I didn't see that happen though. I didn't see that in court. Like times I've been in court, I didn't see people use that. You know, they actually get a letter from the person or whatever for, you know, if the situation's legal on their end, you know, and they're not going to get locked up in trouble or anything like that, like you said, because they're legally allowed to have it. And somebody really will write a letter and the judge will read it out. And I've seen dudes really beat the case over that.
The Silverback says Twiz was talking about 13 to the mighty.
Fact. That's what it is. 13.
I'm butchering it. That was 50
13.
Cent.
Yeah, 50 Cent had I think he was even did a little appearance in it. He wasn't like a main actor, but it was a movie by him, and it was deep. It was deep and different. It was like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? That drink was heavy.
I might have something to watch tonight. They say this was released in 2005.
Yeah, that was a good John. I ain't even going. You understand? It was different. It was different. I'm not going to give it a 10 or nothing, but it's just showing, you know, his way of thinking, and you know him thinking.
It's 2011, and it's just called 13.
Yeah, 13.
It has Jason Statham. It has Mickey Rourke. It has 50.
Okay.
50 plays an employee assigned to escort Rourke's character to the bloody game.
Facts. It was heavy.
Okay.
I'm
gonna watch that, John.
Yeah, that John it's different.
Never mind. I'm not watching this movie. I thought it was something else. I thought it says right here, it's a suspense thriller, and then I log in, it's that the movie made $3.5 million at the box office. It made everything it cost to produce.
Yeah. It be like that sometimes. You can't judge it. Like we spoke on earlier, shoutouts. How much y'all think that movie made in box office? It don't mean it wasn't a good movie though.
Right.
I seen a good movie, man. That wasn't, you know, it wasn't out in big theaters. It was on this little website, man. Nice movie. It was called Slapface.
It's like it's
not out yet.
It's like some movies where they be like it's like some it's like
all right,
some
hold
movies.
on 1 second, guys. Reginald just logged in 3 hours into the conversation, and he said Dre mixed Snoop the Last Meal album. What are y'all talking about? Well, we actually have addressed that. Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre worked with Snoop Dogg in 1993. The last meal came out in 2000. That's 7 years.
We talked about that, right? Yeah, we brought that up.
Before that, Snoop Dogg worked with Dr. Dre on No Limit Top Dog, which was his second No Limit album, his fourth album, and Dr. Dre actually produced on the record called Buck 'Em with Sticky Fingers, as well as Bitch Please with Exhibit and Nate Dogg. And Bitch Please,
that's my shot.
Bitch Please would go on to be on Eminem's. So obviously they had a working relationship, but we're just pointing out the fact that this album we're talking about right now, No Limit Top Dog, actually released in May 11th, 1999. The Doggy Style album released in November of 1993. So we're talking about
deep cover vibes. You know what I'm talking about? We talking about, situations like that.
We're talking about friends being separated for nearly 7 years. Why were they separated? Was it seemed like probably being a little uncomfortable to be around one another. Like, yo, man, you wouldn't do that for me, bro? You wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? But I have my feelings. We all kind of have our own feelings about it. I kind of know how it is for people to be looking at you to go take the stand for them. And it's like, yo, I don't want to put my face on a public forum like that. I don't want to go in front of all those people. That's how I feel personally, you guys.
Yeah, but Dr. Dre didn't even show up to none of the court hearings at all.
Exactly.
Suge said that he was getting calls from the police. Suge said he was getting calls from the police saying, don't show up there. Don't show up, because a bunch of Bloods were showing up, 100 Bloods every time they had a court. So what do you expect when the police call you and tell you not to show up somewhere? I think you're going to find something else to do, right? Bonds?
But that's your record label, and that's all the people that set your record label on you or what? It's not like you don't know them. And he's from LA.
They're
he's not a part of a gang or nothing. So he don't have to worry about none of that. And they said, and I was watching the Mob James, one of his interviews, he said they was getting a lot of death threats. That's why they came up. That's why they were up there.
So why would you go if you're getting death threats there? I mean, look what they did to Dre in the NWA movie. They put him on the ground just for walking outside of a recording studio. Who wants to relive memories like that?
But that's everyday. That's everyday stuff you deal with in the hood. So it depends on
It
depends.
And they always got scared tactics.
So why would you walk into a situation where you know you're going to get arrested?
But why would he get arrested?
When you get arrested, that ain't nothing. If you wasn't on the scene of the crime and they can't connect you to it, you don't got nothing to worry about. Dre just made it look like he didn't care about nothing but himself. With that
your man needs you, like if your man drowning, you gotta jump back in the water, bro. My bad, Swizz.
No, you good, bro.
From what it seemed like Suge was saying in the interview tonight, that so many Bloods were pulling up, the cops were just going to start arresting people and calling it like a riot going on.
But they want to arrest Dr. Dre.
Yeah, but what charges?
Then nobody got arrested.
Wouldn't he be the first person they would want to arrest?
No, if that's the case, Pac and all of them would be locked up. You think they would want Dre more than they would want Pac? Pac was one of the rowdiest people out the whole group.
Pac did get locked up.
No, the courthouse. We're talking about the courthouse.
Yeah,
they could have threatened him. You never know. If somebody told Dre something, or I'm not gonna say Dre scary, but if somebody told a scary person something, they gonna act like it's true. Especially police, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna be like, even though you got that right, but some dudes are scared of police.
Yeah, and then even more than that, the person coming up to you like, yo, man, listen, Jimmy Iovine or Larry or Leor Cohen talking to you, Twiz. Yo, listen, Twiz, I know you're the hood blogger and all that, but if you go out there today, there's the chance that you're not going to be the hood blogger no more. We need you to stay here and to continue hood blogging. Dre, we need you to stay here and continue music.
Well, if I would have had to accept that, if I would have had to accept that information as a man, I would have made sure I told Snoop that. And when people was out here in interviews throwing that out there, I would address that to being like, bro, I talked to Snoop, I let him know what was up. you know, my career and my family was more important at the time. I didn't want to jeopardize my bag. But with having that silence, it's
Facts.
just like a nonchalant attitude where, like, bro, if it ain't had nothing to do with me, I don't care. Roll rap, Sean, you already know. Like, you know, Dre,
Yeah.
period, his attitude and energy is like he don't care about nobody that's not, you know what I mean? He care about himself. Like he
Yeah, I want to
got a
see the
different
scene.
energy.
I want to see the scene in the show where Dre's like, I have to protect my face. I got to make sure I can go home to my children, to my mom. While you out here and you live in this fairy tale lifestyle of Snoop Doggy Dogg. But he probably never said that to Snoop, right?
He thought it. Right.
Dre more reserved. He ain't gonna be on hype.
And
like
even
that.
and even if he didn't go on the interview, if he said it directly to Snoop, I'm talking about we brothers, Mikey. Like that's if something go on, and I might not talk about it on the interview, but I'll talk directly to you about it. If he told Snoop, then Snoop would be able to speak on it. Like I talked to Dre, that ain't nothing. But obviously that never happened.
Yeah. And the dude not gonna say that. You see what I'm saying? Dudes, a lot of time dudes is gonna say dudes are standing on their image. You know, they're not speaking things that's aligned with their morals. They speaking things that's aligned with their image. So they're gonna say what they're supposed to say. So yeah, that don't necessarily sound like the dude that's claiming the, you know what I'm saying?
Well, Tanya says maybe Dre did tell Snoop, and that's what Twiz was just going into. But you know, Snoop is the type of person who would address it in an interview format. But this comes as news to me as well. Like it's not something I really knew about. That
Me neither.
I would have known that this would have caused friction in their relationship. So let's go on to something else. Suge Knight also says in this interview, Bonds, that he is not dissing Snoop Dogg anymore. It's love with Snoop Dogg. This comment he made though, is it really a beef comment? Because it is a disruptive comment to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, but we talking about Suge, right? You know what I mean, for one, and you know, Suge ain't never been the one to, you know, curb his speech. So, you know what I mean? It could not be a personal, you know, shot at Dre, but you know how Suge gonna give it up, especially right now. You know, he talking his piece, and you know he gonna know what Suge gonna do.
Yeah, man. We'll see what happens with the movie in the future. You know, I look forward to seeing the new. They just did a 2018 Suge Knight film. It's more of a documentary, more of a conversation with Suge Knight. If you guys haven't seen that, I just checked it out literally last month, and it was pretty interesting. But that's why I question, you know, Suge Knight actually being able to produce an actual film on his life. I would think it would be the Death Row movie more than the Suge Knight movie. You know what I mean? The Suge Knight movie kind of sounds like when the Dog Pound tried to come out with the Dog Pound movie after Straight Outta Compton was such a big hit. It's like maybe if the Snoop Dogg movie comes out, the Dog Pound will be a big part of that.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But like for them to do, but then Michelle, she released her movie, and I gotta admit that wasn't that bad. Michelle movie wasn't that bad.
With it being a Suge Knight movie, it would have to take it back to before Death Row because this is the Suge Knight movie. It would have to take it back to, you know, his football career and everything. You know what I mean? Bodyguard and exactly.
Who
it
wants
would be
to see that?
the people do.
I know, Bonds. You already said you'd fork over your $15 for the movie theater to see.
Yo, the whole hood that's a gangster story.
The hood want to see Suge Knight's story. They want to see him in the beginning because nobody really talk about Suge Knight before Death Row.
All right, Eazy-E's story, Suge Knight's story. Where's the scale on that?
They both were good. You can't take away from either one of them because Eazy-E's story.
Remember, Suge was a bodyguard. He had a football career. He had a bodyguarding career. He started
bodyguard. Bobby
he got so many. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Easy.
I'm saying I don't know who really wants to see that. You know, like the
Any
Death Row
any
movie.
a true fan would want to see it. A true fan of Death Row, a true
A
fan of Pac
real,
and that whole
real
movement.
hardcore fan, Twiz. Like
No, a true fan. You don't gotta be hardcore.
An everyday fan would want to see an everyday fan would want to see the Death Row movie. A real hardcore fan would want to see the Suge. I think it's
I see where you coming from. The
the
Death Row story was definitely sell more than the Suge Knight story. But I think the Death Row story would be the Suge Knight story any old way.
I think if I had the bread, I'll put some bread up for that. I think that'd be a huge joint. That'd be a big joint.
I think if they had the money behind it, it could be major.
Didn't they already make the Death Row movie though? Didn't they already make the Death Row movie?
Did they?
I didn't see it.
Straight Outta Compton. Wasn't that pretty much the Death Row movie?
That's not Death Row though. That's straight. That's NWA.
That's NWA.
Okay, yeah, because you know, like they sort of got into like the Death Row at the end there, sort of like how in the Wedding Crashers, you know, that the end they did the Funeral Crashers. Do you guys remember? Like, you really wish they would have just did that as the sequel, the Funeral Crashers, but they put it in at the end.
Yeah.
They kind of put it in Straight Outta Compton bonds.
No, they didn't. All they did was put the scene in there when Suge and them was trying to get Easy to release Dre. That's the only thing they did that had connected to that. You seen Suge in the movie and things of that nature.
Different stories.
But you know that was like a pinch of the story.
Mm-hmm. Pinch of the story. Okay, so you're saying even though Dr. Dre walked away at the end, we still got to see more formally how it was created. We got to see when Dre was there, and we got to see when Dre left and what they did when Dre left. We got to see all
how Tupac got there, how they formed Death Row. Come on, like we gotta go.
All that, yeah. No, all
that was sort of explained in the Tupac movie.
How Suge went and bailed Pac out. It wasn't.
No, that was in the Tupac movie.
But no, they could go. They could go into more detail.
No. It wasn't in the movie. Pac was talking about it, but we didn't get to see and experience it. Like in
like him talking to Jimmy.
No. He's like, "Yo, is that camera on? I just signed with Death Row."
But that's different.
But we didn't see it happening though. He was talking about it. You know what I mean? That was an interview that we know that Pac did from prison during his time. Now, if it was in a movie, it would be like from Suge being home and them seeing the case of him getting locked up, and Suge like, you know what? Pac is who we need, and he's going to bail him out. And the conversation that they really had and everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think Rosewood just said it would be more detailed.
Because you saw the conversation.
No, we didn't.
They all sat down at a table, and he was like,
"No,
we can do the deal right now." He's like, I'm gonna give you $3 million. They did that whole conversation. I'm saying, what does Suge have to sell? That is already on this big screen.
No, that's not.
Suge got his whole life, bro. You don't know, like, and there's so many stories that transpire from all those different aspects of him building, like with the whole Harrio situation. Like Death Row was not just Suge, so that's a couple different stories, and then how they came together, then getting, you know what I'm saying, like they took you know what I'm saying, how they took Dre from, you know what I'm saying, like Easy, and it's more to the story, bro.
They didn't in the movie already, Bond.
They didn't even have a scene where Pac got killed on there, like where him and Suge was in the car. That's a scene of its own.
Even with Suge, even with
when they brought Snoop in, it was explained he was a Crip, and then him and Suge had problems, and then they beefed for a second. Like,
but we gotta hear Suge's side of that story.
The beef with all the Bloods and then all the Crips.
These guys are not Spider-Man. These guys are not Batman. It's like, how many times do we have to watch?
You're right. They real characters.
Why do we got to watch the same thing happen. Like I've watched what happened to Peter Parker's family like 5 different times. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I've already seen when Suge Knight and them went and rushed up
Okay,
Eazy-E.
that's a perfect
But that's
example.
not Suge.
You'll watch.
That's not
Look,
Suge's vision.
look. I got him right now. Look, that's a perfect
Exactly.
example. You'll watch Peter Parker, right? And then you'll watch another movie from another hero's aspect that's helping that same. Like you'll watch an Avengers movie, and you'll
Facts.
watch all 5 of them. You'll watch the Thor, then the Captain America.
Facts.
How they all coincide in the same story and working together. This is the same thing. You just watching Suge Knight's story on how he did it.
Facts.
Like that's the perfect example, bro.
It's
Or
just
you
it's
watch
just
you
like
watch 10
it,
heroes doing the same story.
but Mikey, it's just like the interview that Suge just did with Gil and them. He said things that nobody would have thought of or nobody
Right.
knew about. So if
Right.
things like that are put in the movie, then it gives people a better perspective and an understanding of other things that was going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
I'm
saying.
signing Danny Boy. I'm dealing with Jodeci and Mary J. Blige.
I'm
It's
just
just a
saying.
lot of
Facts.
stuff that we don't know.
The
That
Hollywood
still can be put out there.
executives, are going to be like, yeah, but we've already seen this play out in this scene and this.
Oh, you ain't see the pressure. All the you probably see how Dre was. You probably could show you how Dre was succumbing to the pressure of all the Crips and the Bloods coming around. 'Cause remember, Suge had all the homies around, and then all the Crips around. Remember, they were saying how it was wild stories in the studio. Dre want to come around. Like once you start seeing those elements, little extortion, they could show little. They could alter your. You mean?
As long as they're willing to tell the truth.
It's
You know what I mean?
it's no different than how 50 is killing it with Power. We know the original Power that came out, and then he spun it off to Raising Kanan, and he also spun it off to the Power book where it's based around Tyreek. If the storyline is proper, then it's definitely going to work. You know what I mean? The storyline can, it's like the Pac and Big movie, man. Those movies kind of collab with each other. They have certain scenes that kind of overlap each other, but it's not gonna flop if it's done right. Especially if you got somebody like Suge that's right there telling them exactly how things happen.
Now you could say who would the Ice Cube could probably do, but then if you do an Ice Cube movie, then that'd probably be telling the same story.
True.
NWA.
I'm just being real. You know what I mean? Like some people like deserve movies. Obviously, I just don't see where like really like Suge Knight falls in line of actually deserving a biography. Like just to be 100% with you guys.
Because he one of the biggest legends in the hip hop industry. We talking about Pac, that was one of the greatest rappers of all time.
Diddy hasn't even had his own movie. You know what I mean? And like Diddy is a much bigger legend than Suge Knight.
Because he not in the movies. If he did, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't. The Biggie movie wouldn't have dropped without Diddy being behind it. You know, Diddy on other things, but we talking about that's like if Diddy did the Biggie movie, it would have been different than how it was dropped. It would have been different. We talking about somebody that signed these guys, that was really around these guys, that was really signing these guys.
When you say greatest labels of all time, when you say one of the greatest rap labels of all time, or if you talking greatest rap label of all time, you putting Death Row on there, champ.
Right.
You putting Death Row on.
And you say who ran that label? Who started that label? Rosewood.
Sugar.
You going? That's why Sugar.
Because you made him say that, Bonds. That's what.
No.
Him into saying that.
No, that's what. That's
Who
what
else
it
ran it? Who else ran it?
No, it was Suge and Dr. Dre, and it was sponsored by Harry O. Suge and Dr. Dre, and sponsored by Harry O. And then Interscope.
They went and stole Dre. They went and stole Dre.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff we don't know. And like I said, it's coming from Suge Knight's point of view.
Explain that. If they really want me to be interested in their movie, they need to explain what the DOC was doing when he jumped off that jet and he jumped in the car with Suge, and then he told Suge about what was going on. That's the story. They need to tell the background story that we didn't really get to hear in the NWA movie. Like if they really want to sell some tickets. or some DVDs.
I think they will. That's what I'm saying. I think Suge gonna keep it. Suge gonna keep it a bean. He
They
gonna
ain't selling
everything.
Mike.
You gotta give it a chance to sell. Like, and they not really, when it comes to Death Row, they not making it. It ain't a Death Row NWA movie. You know what I'm talking
Hold
about?
on.
But I'm pretty sure it is going to touch up on that.
I got to give it a chance to sell. What do you mean by that? I give it 1 weekend to sell. They get 1 weekend in the box office to sell, just like an album. First week sales, 1 weekend at the box office to sell. Eminem's movie did 50 million.
That's Eminem and 8 Mile. That's not gonna be the same as Suge Knight movie. It's not. That's what I'm saying. Like the movies like that, you really can't base it off the sales. You just gotta base it off of being a good quality movie. It gotta be a good quality movie.
You got people that's not going to movies no more. They finding all different angles of watching stuff without having to go sit in the theater. When back then, it's like, if you're not from a city where you got people walking around selling bootlegs, you was going to have to purchase the actual movie, the DVD, or go watch it in the movies.
True.
NWA, Straight Outta Compton, and Death Row are two separate Dr. Dre entities. So he's had that. He's had Death Row. He's had Aftermath. Could we consider any others or?
Well, he's on Ruthless.
A few million the first week. Yeah, 50's movie did 12 million the first week. I wouldn't expect it to do a lot. I was thinking in my head 8 million, but that's being extremely generous.
He was huge as an artist.
It depends on the advertisement. It's no different than NWA and Tupac movie. If the advertisement is right, then who knows? You know what I mean? Because it's going to always be a heavy base of Death Row fans and things of that nature. The kids ain't going to care about it. Like I said, these new hip hop kids not. But it would be appreciated if it's done properly, as long as it's not no corny type of movie. You know what I mean? As long as it's produced right and everything.
Right.
And whoever acting Suge, they gotta really be acting Suge. You know what I mean?
Oh man, not the same guy, please. Not the same guy. Bonds, would you be cool with the same guy?
I would.
You'd let
we can do if we can go somewhere else too. Either way.
Yeah,
he
man.
Definitely kind of looked like him.
Right. John Sinatra. No, Suge was Bobby Brown's bodyguard. That's how he got into the game.
What about Rosewood Twiz?
No, I ain't tall enough. I ain't tall enough.
Damn.
I ain't tall enough for sure.
Angles,
it don't matter on the camera. The right camera angle, nobody could tell.
Facts.
They have Eazy-E looking like Jordan on that joint at that angle. That camera. Suge Knight is 6'2".
Yeah.
Hold on. What really matters is how tall is Tupac? How tall was Tupac?
Tupac was kind of short, if I'm not mistaken. He wasn't really tall. He had too much height.
5'7".
How tall are
you?
Yeah,
Pac was only 5'7".
Yeah, Pac was like the DMX.
I'm 5'10".
Okay. How tall is Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre like 6'2". So.
Yeah, Dr. Dre's 6'1". So that means Snoop Dogg is still bigger than him, but they could get Snoop Dogg is 6'4", so Snoop Dogg is bigger than They can make that work. Rosewood, do you got your best Suge Knight impression for us tonight?
No, not right now. I only have a Suge Knight impression. You know, people that say when I be in deep thought, they think I'm upset. They think I'm being on my Suge type tip.
Twiz, we can make this work because Snoop is 6'4", Dr. Dre is 6'1", Tupac is 5'7". So Rosewood being 5'10", they could get a Dr. Dre that's like 5'9", make it work. You know what I mean?
True.
Facts.
They definitely can make it work.
Rosewood We just need Rosewood to work on his Suge Knight voice.
Now, if I had, listen, if I had the opportunity to take that role, I definitely would, take a couple acting classes, and I'll definitely polish up on my Suge Knight. I'll be watching every Suge Knight interview, everything. Watch the Source Awards like 88 times. Get that down pat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You'd have to be like,
Any,
what did he
Come to
say?
death, bro.
Oh no, that was
any artists don't want no producers dancing in their videos.
all in the video.
Come to death row.
Come to death row.
That was perfect when he said all in the video. Yo, we're gonna be in Hollywood. We gotta take Rosewood to Hollywood to audition for this shit.
Hey man, let's get it. Let's
Let's
get
get
it, man. I'm going right at it.
Now I got some word from Razor today. Razor hit me up today. That was a real account, right, Rosewood?
Yeah.
All right, because I had a fake account hit me up about those fake accounts were running wild, Rosewood. But yeah, now thank God Razor's home.
Yeah, salute to my G, man.
I want everybody to follow me on Instagram. Everybody on here, whoever follows me on the gram, I'm going to follow you guys back immediately. I got it posted right there, so y'all can click on the link. Hopefully the link is clickable. It seems to be, but I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in today. We had a dope episode. Gilly the Kid has been killing the podcast. Me and my guys, we are the hip hop guys, and we bring you 3 hours of raw content every week, sometimes twice a week. You know what we do, man. We're them guys that you be anticipating to see. But I want everybody to follow me now, and I'm going to send it over to Bon Simmons. He also has an Instagram where y'all can tap in with him.
Yes.
Do the talk.
Follow back. Yeah, I know what it is. Bon Simmons, spelled just like that. You know what I mean? I'm everywhere. I do everything everywhere. So that's videos on YouTube. You know what I mean? Music on all the streaming platforms. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, so tap in, follow me, I follow back, man. Peace and love to everybody in the chat, man. Y'all already know what it is. Postcard Radio.
All right, I'm going to pass it over to Rosewood, but I got Bonds' IG up right there. Y'all can follow Bonds for a follow. He gave us some interesting aspects of what he's done in the game. We talked about Murder Inc. pulling up to his hood. We talked about how Suge Knight actually flew. Suge Knight actually flew out Bonds. He flew. What airline was it that Suge Knight flew you out on?
Damn, I don't remember the air. It was a good flight though. Everything was copacetic. Yeah, I was down.
Oh, but what about? I was more so interested on the hotel rooms that you guys got. Where did he sit you guys up?
We was in like a regular hotel joint. Yeah, he took us to some studio.
It was the
like in-house in somebody's crib. He was recording in somebody's crib. It was a nice crib though.
Whoa! So hold on. So you're recording at somebody's crib and you're staying at the Quality Inn, or you're staying at the Best Western? You're staying at the Holiday Inn?
It wasn't no crib. It wasn't nothing super. It probably was like some quality inside. It wasn't like a motel. It was a hotel, but it wasn't.
So it wasn't like a part of like a strip. Like you weren't like you couldn't leave your hotel and then walk up the street to a liquor. Like you weren't in the middle of a city.
No, we was in a like I guess kind of tourist area, like because when we did walk where we met him at, when we checked in our room and all that, we wound up going to some kind of strip, and when we met up with him, it was at night. The first time when we first got with him, it was nighttime. He was out on the strip. He was actually fighting somebody on the strip. It was actually a bunch of commotion. That's how we got to him. Like it was like an almost fight.
Sure.
So once they saw you pull up, they were pretty much like, "Oh shit, we shouldn't be messing with you."
We came up to the we supposed to be like meet us over here. Like we met him over there. We went to the strip. It's mad commotion. It's like almost quite big. So he just did he come out out of the woods like it was I guess so. I guess he had a.
So Bond
Step
Simmons,
on, so.
guys, follow Bond Simmons. He actually saved Suge Knight's ass. Bonds saved Suge Knight's ass.
Mikey
Wow.
T, you gas and shit.
Nah, I was fresh off the plane. You know what was going on.
Hey,
Right.
you know, people are really usually ready to kick a little ass right off the plane, right, Twiz?
Nah, you in another part of town. You on the other coast.
But you guys have anything you want to ask? Do you guys have anything, Twiz, Rosewood, our residential Philly boys? Do you have anything that you want to ask Bonds in regard to the whole Suge Knight situation? Because I you know, it kind of sounded like when Suge had brought out Juvenile and Young Buck, except he didn't leave them, I guess. Did they call the hotel?
Bonds,
did they call the hotel? Bonds, and like, you guys have to check out of the hotel now.
Nah, it was everything was cool. Like I said, we met with a label too. He said us like, I mean, we had a meeting with sorry, I forgot the dude name too. Somebody that I know, kind of famous dude from like, we had some meeting with a label and all that. And I guess, you know, like he took us to the studio with it was other people. I told Mike the story, but it was like other people. Like, say if you fly us out to Philly and then you might have he had some girls, you know what I'm saying, too. I guess he was trying to, you know, so he put us all in the studio and wanted us to work together, see what we could come up with.
I thought you were going another way with that.
Nah, it wasn't that. You know what I mean? So
he's like, these are girls. These are girls. You've got to pay for them all. I brought them here. You've got to pay for them all.
You know what I'm saying? We just young guy, we fuck with them. We was only there for like 2 days, man. We went out to eat with them. We went to the studio with them. We went to the label. That was pretty much it. I think we went to the label actually the next day. Then we pretty much left. We flew back. You know what I mean? So he just flew us out there for really? Huh?
No, I was gonna say Twiz had something for you.
Yeah.
I was just saying, how was Suge energy when you met him? Like, you know, how was the energy?
His energy was cool. His energy was like, he was real inquisitive, and like he, you know, he wanted this like kind of experimentation mode. Like he did. I'll probably tell you off camera, son. He did say some shit. Like he did make a comment. I told you he did make a comment like about Biggie Smalls and all that. Like some comment that was kind of crazy to me. That's what I remember. Like I didn't. I mean, I kind of felt awkward. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, for
but yeah, like, and then, you know, like he, you know, like he was seeing Shay on the DVDs and all that. So it was more like he more, you know what I'm saying, reached out like to, you know, to Shay. But, you know, being that I was in the position I was in, it was like, yo, I need you to come. Like, we got, you know what I'm saying? We got to do this type of situation. So
was it still Death Row at that point, or was it The Row?
No, this was like, this had to be like 2007, 8.
Oh, okay.
So this was already late. He wasn't doing nothing.
That was E1 days. Probably the E1 days.
Yeah, he wasn't doing nothing at this time.
Oh, they had just taken it away from him, and he had probably just done that New Classics deal right before they got the ownership, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He was his name. I don't know. I know his name, but he wasn't. He was Suge. I mean, because I know, but his name. He wasn't doing nothing at that time. Like it wasn't Death Row.
Not
Death Row. I don't know what he was trying to do. He probably was just trying to, you know, he had some. Looking back in hindsight, he probably had some situations that a lady probably was trying to put something together.
Mm-hmm.
See, you know what I mean? He probably was trying to make a move.
So he wasn't. You didn't get the classic. Hey, Bonds, Shay Davis. I want to bring you over to Death Row. Then you're like, yeah, but Suge, man, I kind of wanted a CEO that was gonna be, you know, in my videos. You're Suge Knight. I'm kind of gonna need you in my videos, Suge. I'm gonna need you on my Smack DVD appearance. It's gonna make the scene a little bit more interesting. Do you not understand the concept of marketing, Suge? But anyway,
facts.
Rosewood. Before
like
we
Suge, we need you all in the videos.
I'm gonna need you in the video a little bit, Suge. Like we want Do we want any circulation on this video?
Right.
Looks like, listen.
I think he's seen the benefit of being in the videos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, by that time. Right.
By that time, he's seen the benefit. So
Looks like, yo, listen, I know I said you're gonna do my feature film, but I'm actually not gonna be in the movie. Suge Knight's
go my man Rosewood.
It's just gonna be everything that I saw. But anyways, Rosewood, did you have anything you wanted to ask in regard to that?
No, but I'm pretty much, you know.
Well, I mean, come on, you gotta study for your role as Suge Knight.
I don't know, man. I've been studying since Death Row came out, so I know this story at the back of my hand.
You're gonna have to get on the phone with Bonds when you're studying to be, Suge.
Oh, definitely. Skits up, West Virginia in the building.
But all right, I'm gonna send it over to Rosewood, man. I appreciate you joining us tonight, man. Rosewood always adds to the conversation, man, and I definitely appreciate everything he does for the Hip Hop Guys podcast. Y'all can follow him at spill_ENT. I'm gonna post it up right now, but let me send it over to the guy himself.
Listen, man, it's your boy Rosewood. You know, follow me on the gram, spill_ENT. Shout out to my brother Raisin, man. Shout out to the guys on the Report Card Radio Live, Mikey T, Bond Simmons, and my brother SV Twiz from the city, man. You know, it's only one way and that's up, Twiz. But you know, we doing major things. Shout out to 1122 Studios. Shout out members only Monday. We expanded to Mondays and Fridays now. Shout out to Ace the Chemist, Missy Porter, you know. Shout out my bro Kaboom. Shout out Enes, you know. Shout out K Walker, man. You know, brothers holding it down in the city on a rap tip, man. And there's a lot more talent in the city, you know. And that's what we do over at Spill, man. Putting that spotlight on the city and really showcasing these artists out here and really giving the world an example, you know, of what we can do here in the city that's not negative. Definitely keep it on a positive, and you know, salute to everybody that tapped in tonight, man. Thank y'all for supporting us, because if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here. So good looking, man. So salute to everybody. It's Report Card Radio, baby. Your boy Rosewood, Spill ENT in the building.
Yes,
Real spill.
And yo, everybody go follow Rosewood right now. Shoot him a follow. He's going to follow you back. Same with all of us. Wow. Ever since you said that shit about us being the four-headed monster, the four horsemen, Bonds, the people have been running with it, Bonds.
Facts.
Let me see. Yeah, Jay Sinatra. Suge Knight was also talking about the samples that he gave to Diddy for Biggie and not charging them, you know, when he could have made money. He was trying to make a relationship, you know, because that's really the important thing. Rosewood, do you really think that Suge had any plans to work with Bad Boy if Tupac wasn't saying all that stuff about the quad shooting?
Yeah, because you got to think about it. They had a relationship back when up at Uptown Records, you know, with him being a bodyguard. Bobby Brown is on the Uptown Records when, you know, Puffy is up there. So they had a relationship. The relationship kind of was sour when his homie Big Jake got killed down there in Atlanta. And that's when the relationship got sour. But I think it was still, you know, some things that they were cool on. But when it just went to the next level, it was up and it was stuck, you know.
There you, man. I'm going to bring it over to SV Twiz. Remember, guys, super chat your questions right now. If you want a question answered, hit that super chat and we will stay on longer. But I'm going to pass it over to SV Twiz and I'm going to post his Instagram up. Twiz, the floor is yours, my brother.
Definitely, man. It's SV Twiz, the Hub Blogger, man. First and foremost, salute to the whole chat, man. Much love and respect. Like the Honorable Earth said, man, without y'all, there would be no us, man. So we appreciate y'all tuning in and, you know, keeping these hot topics rolling. We vibe, you know, we keep it solid, you know, and everybody is open to their own opinion on this channel, man. So much love and respect to y'all. Then secondly, man, salute to the brothers, man. Mikey T, the movie star. Salute, Sinatra. Mikey T, the movie star, man. Big salute to you, brother. Honorable Earth, man. You know how we carry it. One of Logan's finest, you know what I'm saying? One of Philly's finest in the building. I'm saying then we got my brother Bon Simmons, you know what I'm saying? One of NY finest, man. True Religion Network. You know how we carry it, man. Y'all now tuned into Report Card Radio La Familia, man. We a family. Man, you can follow me on Instagram, _Twiz215, man. You know what I'm saying? And much love and respect to y'all, man. And, you know, subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. It's still Life with the Philly Fan Man Heart, man. But, you know, the channel is now just the hood blogger, man. So, you know, just show some love, man. And y'all know how we carry it, man. We keep it a stack over here, you know. And, you know what I'm saying? That's how we doing it, man. It's only one way from here, y'all, and that's up.
And yo, I want everybody to check out Twiz's interview with Oskino. It's actually a feature-length interview, 1 hour and 18 minutes, you guys. And it's got all the stories about Arab,
real dope interview.
Beef. They got the story about the one guy who apparently snitched. Some dude snitched. Now it's all over the internet doing thousands of views. I'm not sure if this dude got tap in. But Twiz is doing some hood blogging, man. Twiz, what can you tell the people about this interview with Oskino?
Man, it's packed with everything, man. It talks about everything. You know, pretty much if y'all knew y'all was a fan of State Prop, man, he touch up on everything on that interview, man. The ups and downs, you know, issues that he had with members, his brothers, you know, him getting involved with art, his relationship with Dame Dash, Kevin Hart, everything, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all packed in, and I just dropped the full interview, you know, and he get into it, man. Shout out to yeah, he talk about, you know, he was already with State Property when Kevin Hart, when Dame had connected with him, so he touch up on that, and you know, he touched up on a lot of things. You know, he was there when Kevin Hart came over, when Kanye came over. You know, he was there. You know, so all of that is packed in the interview right there. So, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate it, Mikey T. Make sure y'all tune into it if y'all already didn't. You know, and you know, and this other content that you guys would love to tune into. So we appreciate the love, man. Appreciate y'all.
So Twiz said it. His YouTube channel is now known as The Hood Blogger. I was actually on YouTube the other day and I saw a page that said The Hood Blogger. I was like, yo, what's going on here? I logged on. I saw it was Twiz. So I was like, okay, that's what's up. Twiz is actually stamping that before somebody else does. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows it's Life with the Philly Fam. They know what his YouTube page, you know, puts out there. It's more than hip hop. You know, obviously it's all forms of entertainment, but also lifestyle. So everybody, Jason Sinatra, I want y'all, Buffalo, James Brown from Buffalo, John Paul. I want y'all to go check out Twiz's new interview with Oskino, but also give my bro Bon Simmons some streams on Spotify because
Local Legend.
Bonds be working. The project is called Local Legend, and it's got some dope features on it. But more importantly than that, you got some amazing music from Bon Simmons, man. And you know we are proud to have Bonds on the channel as the rapper in our group. You know, it adds a little bit of definition to what we do here on the Hip Hop Guys podcast.
Facts.
I appreciate that, bro.
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely put my blood into that joint. Let's run up these 2021 numbers. We got a few more days. Yeah, man. Run them numbers up.
That's right. Run them numbers up. Check that out. Check that Local Legend out, man.
Free the men. Free the men.
Everybody check out the new content. Like I said, I got a new interview with Skinny Me up on the page. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I put the whole 32-minute piece up. So
I'm watching that when I get off of here.
Yeah, the whole 32-minute joint is up. But yeah, I appreciate everybody tapping in, man. Schizo said shout out to Razor.
Shout out Razor.
Yep. Tanya
home,
says just left your page.
Appreciate it. You're gonna see all types of stuff, man. You're gonna see the streets of Philly, short films, interviews, everything.
I'm ashamed to say that I just went and subscribed. I thought I was, or I don't know why, the Hood Blogger.
It's all good, man. It's all
Crazy,
good.
but I'm locked in.
We brothers first and foremost, man. That ain't about
Yeah,
nothing,
that's why,
man.
you know what I'm saying?
You know
You
what I'm
forget to
saying?
do the, I should have been did that.
It's all good.
Hit these up.
Hell yeah. What a podcast tonight, man. You know, I was gonna give everybody, I figured isn't this known as a day in history? Is this known as Twiz Bonds? Is it like the day after Christmas? It's not Christmas Day. Is this really a holiday anymore, or were we cool to come on tonight? Because I wanted to be respectful to everybody's holidays.
Oh nah, you was good.
It's all
Everybody
good.
should be chilling. Yeah.
Especially around the holiday season, you have more people that's home, and you know,
Right.
after the kids and everything open the gifts up, they sitting around and they need the entertainment. So we here to give it to them. Yeah, man.
Somebody might be on their new laptop trying to see what they YouTube, you know what I mean, what the experience like with the game on their new device.
New phones, eating leftovers, man. We here to entertain y'all for that, man. We putting y'all to bed tonight.
Yeah. Get us in the algorithms on your new joint.
We'll be back. Yeah,
Definitely.
That's right. That's right. Run the numbers up, you guys. We all got new projects out, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Salute from the hip hop guys. That's right.
Y'all know how we carry it.
Peace.
Much respect.